While on his way back from the market, like any other person, this young man accidentally bumped into a toad so ugly it was offensive to look at. The young man, nicknamed Jay, felt a sharp pain in his head when, out of nowhere, his leg got tangled by a monster's limb. He cursed under his breath at the government officials who never seemed to do their jobs properly. Without thinking any further, he picked up the bunch of spring onions he had just bought and used it to knock the creature away. As the monster was sent flying, it knocked over a can of Coca-Cola, and Jay immediately leaped up to finish it off. The frog, after spitting blood, also fell down with a thud, completely finished. After a long sigh of frustration, Jay looked back at the pile of leftover actions, which, after all, were ridiculously expensive actions. Jay was exactly the person who had awakened to S rank, the one who, 8 years ago, had been reported as dead. Taking out the iPhone Pro Mark III, Jay immediately called the police, hesitating as they spoke. "Hello, there's a monster that seems to have died in the alley where I'm standing. It seems like some hunter dealt with it and then left. This place seems to be an alley on the way to the supermarket or something. Inside, there was a huge, disgusting toad, and it smelled horribly. I didn't dare look any closer." After receiving the notification that someone would arrive in 5 minutes, the young man hung up the phone. Jay rustled as he picked up the bag, thinking he should leave before running into them. The day the spatial rift appeared, among the few countries with functioning governments and military systems that were not paralyzed, the United States led the way in adapting and swiftly taking action. The second country to respond quickly after the United States was South Korea. This can undoubtedly be attributed to the efforts of the awakened S-rank individuals who emerged, shining brightly like stars. Hunter J, aside from the nickname and gender, all other information about him is kept secret. This is the Korea tier actor during the era of chaos, a person who did not hesitate to dive into rifts and dungeons to save countless people. Jay is also the former hunter who stood at the #1 position in South Korea, and at the same time, the first S-rank hunter. 8 years ago, this person, along with 44 other hunters, sacrificed themselves to seal the first-tier rift and became a national hero. No one could have imagined that now he is just an ordinary Jay carrying a shopping bag. Looking this shabby, shouldn't I have sounded more frightened when making the phone call to inform them? At this very moment, Jay had no intention of returning to being a hunter. Exactly 5 minutes later, the support team arrived at the alley that had been notified earlier. The red-haired girl braced herself with one hand, continuously exclaiming in admiration, "Wow, this is amazing. To handle a swamp toad so neatly like this, it must have been done by a senior, right? Also, if we had been even a little bit slower, this monster would have released all its acid fluids by now." In reality, Jay had cleaned up the mess so thoroughly that they thought it could even be handed over to the research team. The red-haired girl asked the boy beside her, "Is there any trace left? Take a look. If the skill level is like this, the strength of that person must be no ordinary matter." After checking with the scanner, the boy broke into a sweat, looking panicked. How powerful must that person be to leave absolutely no trace at all? It must definitely be a professional hunter. The red-haired girl looked at her hands, showing signs of frustration, or maybe it's just some anonymous hunter again. The comics and novels are full of nonsense that corrupts the kids. But I heard the monster that just escaped is level 4. Luckily, it hasn't eaten anyone yet, and it hasn't destroyed any buildings. Now let's just take this frog back. Suddenly, the young man, with his keen sense of smell, caught the scent of garlic barrel in the air around them. The red-haired girl didn't think much and immediately guessed. He probably picked up some barrel onions from the trash to eat. But mentioning barrel onions is making me really hungry. How about we go to the usual place after work? That guy seems really short-tempered now. You mean the place we go to every day, meanwhile. G was serving tables and bringing out the alcohol-clearing soup for the customers. The surrounding noise was chaotic, just as the guys had thought. The anonymous person is also the hero of the entire nation. G is currently working part-time at a hangover soup restaurant, and the place is so crowded that he's exhausted. However, due to his blunt nature, G has occasionally talked back to customers when they order more soju. "Hey there, bring me another bottle of soju, will you? Sorry, but this is already your second bottle." The customer was startled, his face blank with confusion. "What did you say? I've only had one bottle." G bluntly replied, "Earlier, I saw you put the empty wine bottle into the system's storage." The reason he did this was because of the clear rule posted on the wall of the tavern. stating that each table was limited to 2 bottles of wine to prevent drunken brawls. The other man could only grumble. I put the wine bottle into the storage faster than when I catch monsters. Sharp eyes, like a demon. Could he be a hunter? The young man in pink sitting across from Seesaw murmured quietly. But I've already asked the team leader, and the team leader said he's just an ordinary person. That older brother still looked at Jay with a curious and suspicious gaze. What's going on? Maybe he's a hunter hiding his skills, or maybe he hasn't registered. For example, the young man in pink sitting across from him waved his hand and laughed, tilting his chest forward. That's not the case. If you don't register, you'll have to pay a hefty fine. Besides, if he were a secret hunter, he'd have to be out hunting in the dark dungeons by now. He's not crazy enough to work part-time at a soup shop like this. Thinking it over, the man in black licked his lips. That's right. Those who hide their skills are always the ones who look most devious. The guy in the pink outfit continued. The captain said that once he awakens, he'll immediately claim him for his own heart. His vision was sharp enough to catch him hiding a bottle of soju in the system's storage. And his physical strength was also at a level where he could carry multiple boiling pots at once. Before awakening, he was already this good, so after awakening, he should at least be rank B. Right? The two of them kept whispering like that, thinking that G couldn't hear. But in fact, he caught every word while washing the dishes. G thought to himself, and they dared discuss whether they should recruit a longtime senior like that for their team. I woke up before those people. Originally, G wasn't a part-time employee at the soup shop that sold hangover remedies. A few months ago, the moment he opened his eyes, he found himself lying in a pile of garbage that was both rancid and foul to the point of being nauseating. Looking around, he was still confused, not knowing where he was. In his clear memory, he was fighting the basilisk monster. G remembered that he even stabbed his sword into its head. Recalling. It was clear that he was in the crevice of water. Could it be that what he saw in that crevice had pushed him outside? How much time had passed? He wondered. G continued to sniff, trying to stand up with a trembling body, following the sound of clinking. He found a shop, his state no different from a soulless corpse. Is this a place that sells food? The old woman, upon seeing him, invited him inside. G was no longer clear-headed, his mind spinning as he swayed unsteadily. The old woman asked Han, "Why have you ended up like this? Did you just come out of a prison or something?" G only responded in a tone that was utterly disrespectful. Immediately after, the old woman quickly cooked something for him to eat. The smell of smoke filled the air, waking G up, and he ate like a man who had been starved for years. After draining it all, G slowly regained his senses and felt a warmth. He looked up at the TV screen and heard the announcement. A level 5 water eruption has occurred in the western coastal area. 8 years ago, a similar level 1 water eruption was reported. At this moment, G switched to a state of panic. What, 8 years ago? Continuing the news report, the water opening has suddenly increased to level 1. The government has dispatched an SG-level hunter along with 14 rank A hunters, and additionally, 30 rank B hunters to enter the water opening. The water opening in the west disappeared after a week. G stopped, appearing extremely confused. Clearly, the heart had entered along with him. The hunters sent to that place, unfortunately, could not return. 3 months after the water breach in the Western Sea disappeared, the Awakening Ability Management Bureau confirmed that all the hunters who had entered the breach had sacrificed their lives. Without G, our country would have no future. The person being referred to as the lost on the main broadcast is Songjo Haeon, an S-rank awakened. Director of the Samla Center, G froze after hearing it. What the hell are they talking about? I'm clearly still alive. The spoon he was holding trembled and then fell. The notifications continued, resembling lightning strikes across the television waves. G and the 40 for hunters bravely ventured into the water opening on the Western Sea, and thanks to them, we have the future we do today. We have an obligation to look ahead and move forward. Sending to G, the documentary memorial for the 8th year. After the first level water opening event in the Western Sea area, I would like to conclude here. G barely maintained the last bit of calm as he turned around to ask the old woman, "May I borrow your phone for a moment?" The moment he was granted permission, he rushed forward, almost crazed, and dialed a number. There was a shock when the phone service center notified that the number you just dialed no longer existed. Like that, G felt like he was collapsing, unable to believe that it had already been 8 years. Did I really just drop straight into this future moment 8 years from now? But more importantly, have I really kicked the bucket? No, I can't be so sure about that. Your heart is pounding wildly, your face continuously sweating, trying to calm yourself down. It's not that. Maybe the director just changed his phone number. I have to let them know how the hunters who came with me fought to the very end, and how they sacrificed themselves for this world. I must return inside the crack. Before he passed, one of his teammates instructed him, Ujiya, remember this well. The world has changed. You have power, and that's why everyone is relying on you. They hope you'll save them all. But Ujiya, you're still very young. You don't have to save everyone. It's okay for you to run away. Immediately, he stood up and politely took off the watch from his wrist, handing it to the old woman. Grandmother, this is all I have left. Please accept it. The old woman smiled gently. It's nothing. You don't need to return the favor. He insisted on saying a few more words. I can't, grandmother. If you won't accept it, then let me leave it as a token. I will come back for it later. It is now 8 years later, and looking back at the world, he sees that it has changed a lot and is much safer than before. From sending warning messages about the impending gates, to the fact that the hunters of the Bureau of Management are deployed and handle situations very quickly. People now live lives without fear and no longer have much expectation of him. In the moment of seeing the happiness and joy of everyone, Jay couldn't help but think, I wonder if all the sacrifices made before have any meaning. When the hunter Jay was gone, no one remembered the person who bore the name Father. From that moment on, he made a promise to himself to live a quiet life, and so, he applied for a job as a helper at a restaurant. The young man is currently in the bookstore, and in front of him is a sign with a familiar face on it. Jay, the text reads, Awakener Registration Hotline 777. Report unregistered awakeners and report criminal activities 555. He stands still, lost in thought. 9 years ago, those who awaken held positions equal to that of the police force. Back then, it was only you and the person on this sign who were at S rank. Now, it seems like everywhere you look, even no smoking signs or community-oriented advertisements, all feature Binyoung. They use the excuse of special recruitment to push Binyoung into the management department, even though they are still being drained of their strength. Just at the moment when Jay was in a daze, a little girl, around elementary school age, ran over him. Uncle, I've finished picking my books, she said, her round eyes wide as she held out the book. Jay stood next to her, still in a daze, while his mother looked on. The book had a crack on it, with an image of a young man with his face blackened at the top right corner of the cover. It was none other than him. He didn't say anything, only thinking to himself, this is a copyright violation, all fake. Even if I am someone who has already passed away, they are still using my image too recklessly, aren't they? While Jay was paying for the 30,001 book, the little girl stood below, her eyes sparkling. Are we done yet? Let me hold the book for you. It seemed like the little girl really wanted to have this book. As soon as they left the bookstore, the little girl continued excitedly asking, where are we going now? With a determined expression, Jay clenched his fist. Where else can we go? I'll take you home. Then I'll return to the shop to prepare for the evening sales. The little girl pouted and complained that there was nothing fun to do. Dee reluctantly smiled warmly. There's a lot to prepare for the evening, so we can't go out to play. I'll buy you some ice cream. Then you can stay home and eat it with Grandma. At this moment, the girl finally complied and obeyed. The daily tasks at the alcohol detox soup shop include the following. First, the shop must open at 6 a.m. It sells detox soup to hunters who gather for a night-long celebration. That lasts until the 5th shift, as well as to hunters who are caught and forced to work overnight shifts. From 11:30 a.m. to 2 p.m., the shop will serve lunch. This is where they sell soup to sober up the hunters who come and go like a flood. From 2 p.m. to 5 p.m., the shop will take a break to clean, wash dishes, and prepare ingredients. After that, Jay will be responsible for picking up the little child Hayuan from school. From 5 p.m. to 10 p.m., it will be time for dinner service. At this moment, Jay would have to face hunters who had already drunk 2 bottles of soju but still demanded to buy one more. At 10:20 p.m., it was time to kick the customers out and close the shop. It was still the same process of Jay continuing to clean up everything until his body ached. The young man was extremely pissed off. Anyway, you guys are awake now, unless you drink the specially brewed alcohol. Regular liquor can still make you feel the painful effects of drunkenness. I don't know why you still want to drink more. All in all, I've worked pretty hard today. Saying that, he punched his back to stretch his muscles. After resting for a while, although tired, Jay still felt that life wasn't too bad. He no longer had to travel around due to summons from the management bureau, nor did he need to struggle to fight against monsters. Perhaps you have once wished for a life like this. But there is one thing that Jay is worried about recently. Her legs have noticeably weakened, and she has been going to physical therapy. After all, she is the only family he has at the moment. He wanted her to go to the hospital for a checkup. So he asked, "Is something wrong with your legs?" The old woman waved her hand. "It's just because I'm old, that's all." In reality, Jay was always troubled. What if the doctor says she needs surgery? What should I do then? At that moment, Jay sat there, blank-faced and helpless. I should have just lived in seclusion and done it properly. Why on earth did I end up donating all the money I saved up for so long? To support the victims of the water disaster in the Western Sea? If it really doesn't work out, I guess I'll have to lock myself in a dark dungeon and find something to sell outside. Anyway, the items obtained from the dungeon are always highly valued. They might be enough to cover the surgery costs. But how do I get into the dungeon, and where exactly is it now? At that moment, a phone rang, and Jay quickly ran out. "Yes, the Hangover Soup Shop. How can I help? We are currently closed." Before she could finish her sentence, a trembling voice rang out. "What should we do?" "Yui J. Ha-Yun-Wai has disappeared." Trembling, she asked, "What did you say?" She said Ha-Yun-Wai isn't there. Still unable to keep her composure, she added, "Ha-Yun-Wai is nowhere to be found. What should we do? The girl has gone silent, and no one even noticed when it happened. Recently, the world outside has been very scary, and that girl is going out alone like that." To reassure her, Jay said, "First, I will call the police. Don't worry. I will also go out to look for her. Please rest. Nothing will happen." The grandmother still looked very worried. "Oh my gosh. What if both you and that girl really get hurt?" Dee confidently assured, "I told you. It's fine. Don't worry too much. All right, fine. Just be careful. That girl probably won't go too far, right? Ugh, seriously, don't stay out too late. Make sure you head back soon. Don't overdo it." While speaking, Jay put on a mask and grabbed the tools, preparing to head out. There was no notification about the waterway opening suddenly, so the girl probably won't run into any trouble, right? He activated his tracker's eye mode and began to move. After scanning the area for a while, he confirmed that the girl wasn't around here. He decided to run further to search, but as he was moving, his scanning eye caught something that left the young man stunned. Is there anyone who has awakened with a flame burning this intensely? This doesn't seem like the level of an ordinary hunter. It's almost at the monster level. If I don't verify this, it could become a danger to Han. Why he immediately sped up, running even faster, while the young man quietly followed the trail left by the strange fire. As expected, if the monster had this kind of strength, the news and notifications would have already been spreading like wildfire. That fire turns out to be from an S-level hunter, just like me. He is wearing a gas mask. What a unique look. Let's go before we get caught up in any trouble. I need to find Ha-Yun-Wai right away, before I could leave. That S-rank guy was already standing close, asking, "What are you doing here at this hour?" I stared directly into his eyes, but Jay was startled and quickly turned around. This guy even tilted his head, as if confused. But I saw "If love" written in the messy characters, just like the first time. "Seems like you're just a normal person, huh?" Jay quickly responded, "That's right." The S-level guy continued, "You're working late, huh? But why are you carrying a stick and heading out at this hour?" Jay straightforwardly explained, "I'm looking for my granddaughter. She's not at home." Do you happen to have seen a little girl about this tall, a primary school student, with her hair tied back? After the S-level guy said he hadn't seen her, Jay was about to leave, saying, "Excuse me, I'll take my leave now." Suddenly, the S-level hunter turned around and walked over to ask a person who was still bowing his head to the ground. "Wait a moment, let me ask this guy." After getting closer, he kicked the person a few times before turning to say to the ant, "Sorry, this guy doesn't know anything either." Jay could clearly tell at first glance that the man just wanted to kick the other person, not ask anything. However, to avoid any awkwardness, Jay still replied very politely, "It's fine, you've worked hard. I'll go ahead now." The man still insisted on letting him go. even tilting his head to continue saying, "Wait, strange, it feels like we've met somewhere before." Jay confidently stated with a defiant tone, "But I've never met you before." In truth, in Jay's mind, he was thinking, with such an impressive and striking appearance, there's no way I could have met him before and simply forgotten. After seeing the slightly confused look in J's eyes, the S-rank hunter allowed him to go. "All right then, go on. But don't you dare tell anyone about what you've seen today." Suddenly, just as Jay turned to leave, he felt sharp spikes heading straight for him. He decisively turned around and rushed back into the room to defend. While the S-level hunter stood outside, blocking the way, Jay froze. It's over. His body had already reacted instinctively. This time, he was really done for. How could an ordinary person possibly perform a spinning move to knock away the sharp spikes? Flying toward them? Sure enough, the S-level hunter called him again. "Hey, you." But at times like this, he had to pretend he didn't know anything. Jay quickly replied, "I have to leave right now because I need to find my granddaughter." The S-rank hunter approached him and asked for his name. Jay grimaced in annoyance and said that he didn't have a name. The older hunter decided to press further. "Oh, so you haven't picked a hunter's nickname for yourself yet, huh?" Jay glanced back, thinking to himself, "It's not just that I don't have a name." The other hunter, full of excitement, said, "Then let me give you a name." Jay still had a frown on his face. "Do you run some kind of name and brand registration center or something? Why are you so enthusiastic? I really have to go now. Don't you feel worried about a child struggling to find their way alone like this?" In the middle of the night, the older brother immediately pulled out his phone and started typing something. "That's right. Let my team members find the child. You just wait a moment." Jay froze. At this point, it was hard to escape. I don't need your help." I politely declined. "I will turn to the police for assistance." The S-rank hunter, having caught on, immediately threatened, "Then I'll call the Awakener Management Bureau." Jay was startled, his voice trembling. "Why would you call the Bureau?" With a smiling look in his eyes, the S-rank hunter continued, "The hunter can find it faster just by using strength than the police. Do you like equipment? If I call him, he'll come right away. Should I call him for you?" Jay is really talking nonsense. "Are you being serious?" Jay is getting a headache at this point. I've messed with the wrong person? If we keep arguing like this, who knows when it'll end? Therefore, you ask directly, "What do you want from me that you're trying to keep me here?" The S-rank hunter approached, and I only asked 2 questions. First, is that shield you're hiding an S-rank weapon that you're trying to keep secret from everyone? Second, are you an awakened person who hasn't registered yet? Jay was angry but still tried to maintain his composure. Recently, have those hunters been eating their own dignity along with their meals or something? It's the first time I've met them, and they already speak rudely like that. I've tried to endure as much as I can. Well, if you've endured, then you might as well endure until the end. Damn, the hunter continued. That doesn't look like an S-rank weapon. So you're really someone who hasn't registered with the Administration Bureau yet, huh? Jay tightened his grip and retorted, "I'm not one of those unregistered awakened people, you know?" Han continued to argue back, "If you're going to bluff, at least make it sound convincing." Jay was determined to assert, "I'm telling the truth." In reality, he wasn't lying, because if his name hadn't been erased from the list due to being marked as sacrificed, he would have indeed been registered. The S-level hunter didn't say another word but charged straight at Ant, with no other choice. He used the ladle to defend. Suddenly, something resembling poison caused the ladle to gradually turn black. Jay was stunned when he realized that this reaction was the basilisk's venom. The S-level hunter sneered, holding a simple soup ladle. "A person who hasn't awakened yet and hasn't registered, yet still managed to block my attack. There's no way I wouldn't know someone with this kind of power." Jay couldn't keep his calm any longer and shot back immediately. "Hey, mind shutting your mouth. How old are you, anyway?" The S-level hunter, dark, raised his hand and introduced himself. "Well, I'm 24. Jay scratched his dirty beak. How can a young person, meeting someone for the first time, speak so rudely like this? The S-level hunter froze for a moment, but he looked to be around my age. Jay decided to persist. "Hey, compared to you, I've eaten over 5,000 bowls of rice already." At this point, Jay let loose, unleashing the power of his seniority with a pointed finger and a lecture. Even with twins, the one born just 1 minute earlier is the older sibling. Got it? Why do you keep speaking nonsense like that? He shrugged after hearing it. "All right, I got it." Hero Jay froze when someone suddenly called him by name. "Where's your head?" Hero, that head of yours, he kept jumping. If you don't like me calling you Hero, then tell me your name. Jay waved his hand. Forget it, don't call me anything. Heh, then I'll just call you Hero. Jay scowled. I told you not to call me that. The S-rank person sent someone to join them. Yes, Hero. In Jay's heart, a storm was raging, but his face still had to remain calm. Let's stop nitpicking. Going back and forth is just a waste of time, he thought. If he wanted to probe, it should happen now. With that, Jay turned around. But the S-rank guy called out to him once again. I've never been like this. Jay didn't want to argue. The questions are done, all right? But what about one question? You answered that, but the other one you haven't answered yet. Jay still insisted. I told you I wasn't lying. It's just that you don't believe me. Besides, you didn't set the condition that I must answer your question. After being pointed at and criticized directly by Jay, the S-rank hunter stood still, frozen. Suddenly, the sound of a phone ringing broke the silence. After answering the call, he smiled foolishly. Jay still turned away, frowning. If it weren't for me sparing you, I would have dealt with you a long time ago. He was talking loudly while on the phone. Oh, is that so? Come over here. All right, I'll send the guardian over there. Make sure you handle the girl properly. Don't make her cry. The S-rank hunter turned to Ant and said, Hi, they said they found your nephew. He's at the playground next to a nearby church. Jay let out a sigh of relief. All right, thank you. Suddenly, Young automatically introduced his name. Lee Sa-young. That's my name. See you next time. You must tell me your real identity next time. Looking at the person lying on the ground, Lee Sa-young grabbed him, his footsteps echoing with the sound of boots hitting the ground. It seems like the frequency of appearances has increased quite a lot lately. Suddenly, a head poked out from the wall. Captain, I report that the guardian has just arrived at the playground and has met the child. The child was very happy and called him uncle, even hugging him. What Lee Sa-young was concerned about was whether anything unusual had happened. The young man, holding a cat, continued reporting. No, nothing happened. Should I follow them, just to be safe? Lee Sa-young commanded the person, follow them, confirm where they are going, and then report back to me. The young man then sent a message. Also, the deputy team leader has a message for you. He asked if it's possible to hold a meeting at 11 a.m. the day after tomorrow, regarding the dungeon auction. After receiving a nod, the young man said he would relay the message to the deputy team leader. Lee Sa-young suddenly remembered something and continued giving instructions. Seo Minji, filter all the data on the awakened individuals. Pick out those over 25 years old, around 1.8 meters tall, with an awakening rank of B or higher, and report it back to me. Exclude those with strange appearances as well. Just leave the ones who seem ordinary. Seo Minji furrowed his brow, appearing curious. You mean the data on the awakened ones? That's confidential information from the Awakening Management Bureau, you know? If you give me some time, I can dig it up. But the life of an employee working for the Hunter Company is really not easy. Lee Sa-young continued to instruct. Then go ahead and look it up. And also find out the name of the elementary school child who was just picked up immediately. Seo Minji got the information. Ah, that child's name is Park Hyun, a second grader at Zibain Elementary School. Lee Sa-young continued giving orders. We need to investigate the family relationships of that child. Seo Minji appeared very surprised. The family relationships? Why is that? Lee Sa-young didn't hide anything. I'm a bit interested in the person who claims to be the child's uncle. Just as they arrived home, after a near-death experience, Hyun was slapped by her grandmother several times but continued to scream. I want to play in the yard a little longer. After receiving a few more slaps, the little girl cried out, feeling unjustly treated, while her grandmother kept punching her chest to calm herself. Oh my God. I thought you ran off, and my heart nearly stopped several times because of that. Why did you go out there in the middle of the night? Don't you know how dangerous the world is now? Jay tightly grasped her hand and gently said, Tomorrow morning, when we wake up, I'll teach her a lesson. So, please don't scold her anymore. She turned to ask Yi, Oh my, are you staying over tonight? No, I have to go back to the shop now to prepare for tomorrow's sales. Her expression seemed worried. Is the business at the shop still doing well? You should come and check it out yourself. Jay smiled brightly to reassure her. Yes, it's still going well. You know I'm fine, so I can handle it. By the way, I was also planning to ask how your health has been lately. Looking down at her legs, which seemed about to give way, She still forced herself to speak in order to reassure him. My legs are fine. I'll be better soon. Just by looking, Jay could tell she was lying. Even now, she was still using all her strength to stand on just one leg. Then he finally returned to the shop. Grandma, good night. Grandmother, can you lend me your window? The grandmother looked confused. Not knowing what Jay intended to do, he just gave an awkward smile, not wanting to explain. I have a little something to take care of. I'll call you to check in tomorrow. With that, Jay left through the window. In truth, he already knew that someone was watching him. I still wondered why he was so obedient, letting me go like that. It turns out someone had secretly followed me. He gently lifted his shoes and activated the soundless step technique. Sure enough, there were 2 people standing guard in front of the door, and 2 more waiting behind the alley. They didn't make any other movements. Prove that Jay exiting through the window has not been discovered. He tried to stay as quiet as possible to observe them. I could defeat all of them, but they would immediately follow me. They are only following orders. After all, I shouldn't make a big deal out of this and become an enemy to that organization. However, Jay was considering the idea of sneaking up on them from behind. He decided to temporarily suppress their consciousness, making them lose awareness for a while. The 2 guards who had been standing watch for a long time seemed to be getting bored, and said to each other, "He went in but didn't come out. Looks like he went to sleep or something. How boring." And the captain still reminded us to stay on high alert. The blonde-haired man yawned repeatedly, waiting ahead for another 30 minutes. If there's still no movement, we'll head back. We still need to buy fish cakes on the way. Taking advantage of both of them letting their guard down, Jay reached into the blonde's collar. After a few muffled sounds, both were hit in the face with plastic bags and fell unconscious. Once everything was done, Jay even wondered if these 2 were hopeless. Not sure yet, but the pulse is still beating, and the breathing is still steady. Sorry, I just rummaged through your things a little bit. You started off fragile from top to bottom. And in the end, I managed to find it and the wallet. There's also a card. The Pato team found a combat support, rank B Wuchang Yuk. So, it turns out they came from the Pato team. They had begun to find decent hunters, with no worst-case scenario, only worse scenarios. They had not left in a hurry. Jay decided to pull out a pen and write on their clothes as a warning. By the time they reached the shop, it was almost midnight, and there was less time left to prepare the ingredients than they had thought. Suddenly, Jay was startled, looking back at the apron, even recalling Lee Sa-young's mocking words. I've seen it already. The apron has the word love, just like the first time. See you next time, buddy. Thinking about this, Jay was so angry he was practically fuming, replying, damn it, take that apron off the ground and grab a different one. For some reason, he had this feeling of being defeated, so he decided to look up the name Lee Sa-young online to see if there was any information. After searching, he finally found some information, the person who awakened as the 3rd level S in South Korea. Lee Sa-young was ranked 1st on the new leaderboard. So who is this person? Journalist John Sujin expressed an opinion, wondering if this person could fill the gap left by Jay and become the #1 hunter. Lee Sa-young leads the Pato team, a mercenary group of ex-soldiers. Lee Sa-young maintains the #1 position, causing surprise due to their attitude during the official meeting. Jay was washing dishes while feeling itchy. Indeed, nothing could be worse. How did I end up bumping into the #1 hunter? I really must be out of luck. I applied to work at a tavern that serves detoxifying soup to live a secluded life, hiding my true strength. But it turns out this is the favorite spot for hunters. And now, the very person I accidentally revealed my strength to is the top hunter? How is it possible that the strongest hunter in this whole country is fighting in that narrow alley? The person who shot out the sharp thorns at that time was the same. The suspicious things are not just 1 or 2. Jay broke the phone and then pressed something on it. He tried searching for father and son in the search bar, but found no results and couldn't find any cases either. There weren't even any discussions or content mentioning that someone had witnessed it. Either the news is still being concealed, not yet released, or the higher-ups have already controlled the information. Jay began to think about a worst-case scenario. The main danger now was Lee Sa-young. Who could find him? And that would threaten the safety of both her and Ha-yoon. The next day, when the sun had risen, Lee Sa-young was holding a piece of paper in her hand and reading it intently. If you dare to touch them, you will regret it. South Korea is a country with many powerful hunters, and among them, the 3 most prominent teams stand out. The first team is led by team leader Song Jo-hwen. the team that has proven the capabilities of S-rank hunters. For a long period of time, they had established a solid foundation and left a strong, indelible mark in the hunter community of Korea. The first official team of Korea was named Samna. The second team was formed right after the Rift event, bringing together knowledgeable researchers. They focused on gathering information and conducting research rather than building fame or making money. A team, comparable to a ship of knowledge, was named Seogan. Finally, there was a team with the combined abilities of both teams, but more streamlined, called Pado, the military artistic team, and Lee Sa-young. While in a daze, someone ran over and asked, "Lee Sa-young, what are you looking at? Why do you keep staring like that?" Lee Sa-young replied, "Is that a letter? A letter? Who sent it?" Lee Sa-young frowned. "You're too curious. Let's just meet up." All the members gathered in the room, but 4 people were absent. Immediately, the red-haired girl reported the information. "Deputy team leader. Those people are already in the treatment room. They've probably been there for about a day now." The deputy team leader appeared very surprised. "What? They didn't even enter the dungeon to fight. So how could this happen?" The red-haired girl shrugged her shoulders. "I don't know where they got beaten up like that." Upon hearing this, the deputy team leader was furious. "What? Who dares to pick a fight with our people? How can we just let this go?" The red-haired girl pointed at Lee Sa-young and said, "Of course. We were planning to settle this as well, but the team leader told us to leave it for now." Upon hearing this, the vice captain was stunned for a moment, then angrily walked over, saying, "Hey, how can you say we should let it go when one of our kids has been beaten to such an extent? Then what's the meaning of the honor of our Pardo team?" Lee Sa-young, not wanting to dwell on the issue any longer, said, "Just leave it. This is an order. Start the meeting." The vice captain of Pardo, with a helpless expression, said to Jisoo, "Jisoo, can you relay the contents of the meeting to those who are lying down?" Jisoo expressed irritation. "Addiction, you always make me do it." The vice captain began the meeting. "So let's start the session on selecting dungeons for this quarter. Everyone, please turn on your tablets and open the file sent by the support office. This auction includes a new dungeon located underground, right beneath Jongro Station No. 3. It is believed that this dungeon will have items useful for creating potions to restore stamina. And in addition, various other types of items can also be found there." Just finished watching. Jisoo's eyes lit up. If it's at God Jongro No. 3, then the J shift would be convenient too. This is perfect. Why did the government agree to auction off this prison cell? The guy wearing the green tie also gave his opinion. They must be really short on funds. What else could it be? The bidding price is probably going to be extremely high. I think all the prisons being auctioned off this time are fine, but I'm worried about the one in this prison cell. Jisoo also raised her hand enthusiastically, and just like that, the others followed suit. The vice captain also turned to Lee Sa-young and said, "I'll also place a vote for the dungeon this time. What do you think?" After receiving a nod, the vice captain continued to announce, "If there are no other objections, then I'll finalize it. For this year's 4th quarter auction, we will auction off the underground dungeon at God Jongro No. 3. So the meeting ends today. Suddenly, Lee Sa-young called for everyone to stay for a moment. The situation made everyone's faces show confusion and anxiety. Thinking to themselves, Lee Sa-young, what dungeon is she planning to auction off next? Or is she planning to tell us to steal the auction rights from another team? Lee Sa-young asked a question that left everyone dumbfounded. Hasn't anyone here ever seen a man wearing an apron with the logo of a soju brand on it? Around here, there's a person who often carries a ladle of this size and looks quite attractive, with black hair. I think it should be gray, actually. The vice captain began to look confused and then whispered, "Hey, do you guys really not know anything? Jisoo gossiping? If the vice captain doesn't know, how could anyone else possibly know?" All the members knew that Lee Sa-young wouldn't randomly bring up such a trivial matter. Right before the meeting ended, with a dangerous look on his face, the vice captain turned to ask Lee Sa-young, "Where did you see them organizing a soju sale event?" Jisoo forced a laugh. "Haha, Captain, did you just get back from the supermarket?" In reality, the vice captain was thinking that her captain had fallen head over heels for someone, and even complimented their beauty, seeing the absurd misunderstanding. Lee Sa-young could only feel helpless. These people weren't helping at all. Upon hearing this, Vice Captain Pato angrily slammed his hand on the table. Who is the one talking about the auction? Then suddenly brings up some man wearing an apron. Right after the strike, the double-sided desk, scorched, and burnt, was now in a state where even leaning on it would be troublesome. The guy wearing the green sash stared straight into the vice captain's eyes. "Vice captain, I'll prepare the compensation request for the meeting table, and you'll have to compensate for the tablet too." In the midst of endless confusion, Lee Sa-young said that everyone should end the meeting and go for a meal, although irritated. The vice captain still didn't forget to remind Lee Sa-young, "You can't skip meals anymore." Everyone turned to look at Lee Sa-young. "Captain, you've been skipping meals for more than just a day or two. You should really go eat something." After massaging his head, the vice captain suggested that everyone go to the hangover soup shop. Upon hearing this, Jae-su's face turned pale. "Why do you always have to eat hangover soup? If you go there to eat again today, I won't eat with the vice team leader anymore." The vice team leader waved money around, trying to tempt. "Want to go? I'll pay." Jae-su rubbed his aching head. "I didn't hear anything. I'm eating at the canteen. You go alone." The vice team leader waved his hand dismissively. "The place is awful. Never mind. Who's going with me?" In the blink of an eye, the room was empty, not a soul in sight. The paddle team vice captain stayed by the dying tree. When they had to flee from the second-tier monster, they certainly didn't run this fast. What a bunch of ungrateful people. "Do you know why I always go to that drunkard's remedy shop? It's because the more crowded the place, the faster you can catch the gossip, ladies. I go there to mingle with the workers, and I gather a lot of information too. Making friends with others is the real reason I went there. Absolutely not because I went there for the hangover soup, okay?" After saying that, I cleverly trapped myself in a loop. Damn. It's pathetic for a deputy leader to come to a restaurant. Seeing my mother, she happily shouted out loud, "Give me the best hangover soup, please." Normally, I wouldn't even pay attention to the restaurant staff. But suddenly today, I saw Ji standing still. "Huh?" While my older brother stood frozen, Ji continued to speak enthusiastically. "You took the portion with extra chili, right? You came at the right time. If you'd been a little later, you would have had to wait in line." Looking back and forth at the apron, it looked really beautiful too. The hair color is just like the description of his robe. Seeing this person standing frozen, Ji asked once again, "Excuse me, sir, the hunters group," at this moment. The man finally came to his senses. Yes, that's right. Give me lots of chili for the house." Ji looked him up and down, beads of sweat forming, heart pounding. In a place like this, in such a shabby district, how could there be someone both beautiful and handsome like this? It seems that he claimed to be a distant relative on the side of the second cousin of the old woman who runs the soup shop. It seems that he was separated from his family due to the opening of a crack, and during his search for his lost relatives, he happened to meet the old woman who runs the shop. He didn't have any other place to turn to, so he had no choice but to go to the old woman's shop, as she was the only remaining blood relative he had in the world. And he stays here to help with the work at the shop, right? The important thing is that a young man came to work, so I can have more of the hangover soup without having to worry about the old lady anymore. But usually, young people want to become public officials like the hunters, right? Who would want to work part-time at a restaurant like this? But his clothes don't really seem like the person Lee Sa-young mentioned. The 8 types of hangover soup had just arrived when the little one lost all sense of reason. Looking back, there was no way Lee Sa-young could have met a part-time employee working at a hangover soup shop. They might not have even crossed paths by chance. On the other hand, while Lee Sa-young was scrolling through her iPad, Bin-young, an S-rank hunter came to meet Captain Lee Sa-young. Data on awakened individuals is not allowed to be used for personal purposes. Upon hearing this, Lee Sa-young also guessed, Seo Minji got discovered. Damn it. Thinking it over, how could Seo Minji, ranked 33rd, possibly outsmart Bin-young, ranked 3rd? It's only natural. The difference in rankings is like the gap between heaven and earth. Seeing Lee Sa-young still silent, Bin-young forced a smile and lightly tapped his hand on the table. "Hunter Lee Sa-young, could you at least show some reaction when someone is talking to you?" At this moment, Lee Sa-young responded, "There is someone who hasn't registered his abilities. At least he must be ranked B or higher. He can walk down the street so confidently. And you guys don't need to double-check." Bin-young rubbed his head, looking somewhat skeptical. "You know how strictly our country's laws are enforced. For the registration of awakened individuals, the fine can reach up to hundreds of millions. Who would even try to hide their power and not register?" Lee Sa-young continued scrolling through the images with a tone of certainty. "That person doesn't appear in any of the data on awakened individuals. Yet the government still proudly claims they have complete records. Bin Young was very surprised, even unable to believe it. Lee Sa-young reiterated once more. Just to be sure, I've reviewed the entire data 3 times, all the way down to the F-rank hunters. That person not only managed to block my attack, but could also knock away the poisonous thorns shot from the monster's infected victim. How could someone like this not have registered in Korea? Chang Nine stroked his hair. Looking quite strange if this was Ji. How is it, Ha-yoon? Did you apply the dye evenly? The girl was sitting at her desk, tears welling up in her eyes as she looked out. Is the back of your head okay now? Suddenly, Jae sat down again, staring intently at Ha-yoon's notebook. But Uncle has this, really curious, so he asked me. Is the answer to question number 1 earthquake? The little girl smelled the scent, sensing she was about to be scolded. So she quickly gave an excuse. Now that I look back, the dye on the back of my neck isn't applied evenly. Uncle, go reapply it. Jae, today again. Happily patted my head. All right, Uncle. Go look in the mirror and see how it is. Here, you reduce sentence 1, okay? As soon as he entered the bathroom, Fan Nine grumbled. My hair was dyed not long ago, and it's already fading again. I've spent so much money on hair dye. I wonder if it's because of my recovery ability that the dye doesn't seem to work much anymore. Fortunately, I have the skill of a skilled craftsman's hand, or else I'd be in trouble by now. If I didn't work at the alcohol detox soup shop, I'd probably have to try applying for a job at a hair salon while trying to fix his hair. His phone kept vibrating nonstop with incoming message notifications. It was a message from Hoon. Uncle, there's someone outside who looks really strange. Reading this, Jae was startled. He activated his silent step technique and peeked outside to check. The person standing outside the door kept muttering something. Jae urgently told his niece to hide. After muttering a few more strange words, this person suddenly slammed his head against the wall of Ji's house. At first glance, the boy immediately recognized that this person's condition was exactly the same as the one he had seen last time. Unable to stay calm any longer, he instructed him, after I go outside, you must close the door immediately. As soon as he stepped out the door, he landed a punch on the strange young man, causing him to spit blood from his mouth in the dreamlike rain. The man looked up and chuckled softly. Jae was afraid his niece might hear, so he reminded him, keep your laugh down, she might hear you. He began to think, if this person was similar to the one he had encountered before, the only solution would be to break his neck and handle it as quietly as possible. This person continued to undergo changes, and he spat out many sharp spikes with divine speed. Jae dodged the first strike and immediately grabbed his neck, twisting it with a crack. In the end, the person lay motionless, but Jae was quite surprised. What is this? Didn't this thing only appear at night? These guys can be recognized at a glance. Then how come not a single hunter mentioned it? He continued searching for information about the hedgehog, but there were still no results online, and he couldn't find any case reports. Jae thought that Lee Sa-young had warned him not to speak about what happened that day, but it turned out that Lee Sa-young's point was that Jae wasn't allowed to reveal the existence of this thing. You started to feel a bit curious and intrigued. Hey, if the information about this is being controlled, and it's not even allowed to be exchanged between hunters, then why would he let me go so easily? He chose to eliminate me so the news wouldn't spread. Wouldn't it be more convenient for him? Jae suddenly flinched when he heard the hissing sound from inside the house. And as he turned around, he saw his niece peeking, crying uncontrollably. To comfort his niece, Jae spoke in a gentle and soft tone. Hey, can you open the door for me? The little girl shyly pushed the door open. Jae smiled brightly. It's okay. There's no one strange around anymore. They've gone far away. Ha-en's eyes were still teary, on the verge of crying. Clearly not yet fully recovered from the fear, the little girl ran out and hugged Ji tightly. As he held his niece, he thought to himself, did I let him off too easily? After recalling a few images, Jae tightly shut his eyes and then continued to comfort his granddaughter. It's all right now. Were you really scared? I'll tell the hunters, so from now on, nothing like this will happen again. Ha! Because of the trust in Uncle's words, she nodded immediately, even sniffing while reminding. Uncle, you must also tell the zombie and honeybee. Jae wiped off his sweat, thinking to himself. This might be a bit difficult, but he still answered as if it were true. All right, got it. First, Uncle, go wash your hair to get rid of the dye, then come back, okay? Ha! Thanks for being so honest. Yes, actually, it does smell a bit now. Jay switched to shy mode. I have to specify that it's the dye smell, otherwise, if someone else hears it, they might misunderstand. Uncle, before even stepping into the house, Jay froze when he sensed something unusual right behind him. A few days later, Lee Sa-young was moving Jay to the research room, and as soon as they arrived, someone was already there to greet them. You've arrived, Captain. Lee Sa-young cracked his neck and asked, Where's Woo Jin-nam? He's in the operating room. Captain, let me go report to him. Both of them continued as Jay was moved into the operating room. The young man wearing the doctor's coat glanced at the notice. Professor, as Lee Sa-young arrived, Woo Jin-nam turned his face and said, I thought you'd be so busy lately that I'd have to wait for you for 3 hours. Yet you arrived so quickly. Lee Sa-young went straight to the point. He really understands me. I'm incredibly busy, so just say it already, after flicking his handkerchief. Woo Jin-nam spoke to Lee Sa-young. Of course. Just look at this poisoned person. Under the handkerchief was the person who had appeared at Jay's door and had been dealt with by him. Lee Sa-young took off the mask, frowning. The condition was terrible. Woo Jin-nam said, according to Bin Young, that since the discovery of the body, it had been in this state. In fact, the inside was completely shattered due to an extremely powerful force. However, after looking again, Lee Sa-young felt a bit uncertain. It seemed like he hadn't died for this reason. With a snap of his fingers, Woo Jin-nam replied, That's right, the actual cause was a broken neck. You already know. The bodies of those who have been mutated by poison have been enhanced to the point where, even if we break their bones, we still cannot control them with normal strength anymore. Then who could have broken the neck of a poison-blooded person? Lee Sa-young began to speculate that perhaps a hunter had dealt with them. Woo Jin-nam again displayed an expression of complete helplessness. I told you already. Since the discovery of the corpse, it has been in this condition. The people saw it and informed us. Lee Sa-young was curious about where this had been found. Woo Jin-nam looked down at the boy below and said, That's something that interests me a bit, kid. While looking at the sign, Woo Jin-nam spoke to Lee Sa-young. Do you find the location very familiar? It's the trash sorting area, located near the alley where we previously discovered the person with the poison tribe. Also, there's something else special. Look at this. This is the first time I've seen sharp thorns shattered into this shape. It seems like it collided suddenly with something extremely hard. Have you ever seen anything like this before? Lee Sa-young suddenly recalled the image of Jay from their previous encounter and thought to himself, I have searched through all the data but still couldn't find anything. So I thought he had disappeared without a trace and I couldn't find any clues about him. In the end, I finally caught hold of his trail. There will be days in life when, the moment you open your eyes upon waking, you will feel incredibly frustrated. Jay was experiencing that, in a state of exhaustion and nothing more messy than this. The young man was losing all his energy. What's going on? If I keep dragging like this, it's not going to work. The moment he looked up at the clock, he suddenly froze and quickly sat up. NMPXMM, check my luck for today. After receiving the voice command, his phone started scanning, checking the level of his luck for the day. Today, you could be injured even by a falling leaf. So you must be cautious in everything and always stay alert. The dangers threatening your safety are everywhere, no matter what it is. You must not take it lightly, but thoroughly examine it and confirm it multiple times. After hearing that, Jay put on the clothes, completely losing his mind. Is this information about today's luck or a warning that a murder is about to happen? Nup continued to remind, I hope you will be very cautious and careful throughout today. This afternoon, you might have an enjoyable encounter. You should try going outside in the afternoon to see what happens. After hearing a young man speak, Jay quickly adjusted his pants and, overall, the content of today was still extremely bad luck. Today is not a good day. We must be extra careful. Not long after arriving at the shop, Lee Sa-young appeared and greeted him with a name that was very random. It even seemed like he was deliberately provoking Jay to make him furious. Hello, Hyang. I've received the letter you sent. Jay was stunned, his face displaying a huge question mark. Seeing that Jay didn't say anything, Lee Sa-young continued, You're wearing a different apron today. It suits you very well. Jay was really curious as to why Lee Sa-young had appeared here. The atmosphere in the restaurant began to fill with whispers at the sight of Lee Sa-young. Lee Sa-young is eating out. He's someone who would never eat out. Isn't he the one who said he wouldn't appear in places with a lot of people? That's right, but even if he occasionally joins gatherings, What does he have to do with coming to a place like this? Is his life so dull that he would come all the way to such a shabby shop? Upon hearing this, Jay became even more curious. What on earth had that kid done for so many people to be talking about him? Team leader Ba, after hearing this, sneered and changed the subject. The atmosphere is too unstable. Let's sit at the table over there. Ha. Lee Sa-young continued to remain silent, walking straight to the center table. Jay still greeted her reluctantly, performing the duties of a staff member. Excuse me. This table hasn't been cleared yet. Would you like to sit at a different table? When facing Jay, Lee Sa-young spoke in a tone of fake sweetness never heard before. Yes, sir. Take your time. I like this spot to watch TV clearly. Jay once again suppressed his anger. Yes, of course. The customer is always right. The phrase "the customer is always right" echoed repeatedly in his head, reminding Jay not to do anything reckless, not to mess things up, and not to deceive the customer. Lee Sa-young continued asking about the menu, but Jay replied that they only had drunkard soup here. The group suddenly stirred up. Hey, kid, a shop that sells drunkard soup only has drunkard soup. What else could there be? Before coming here, I already told you. Lee Sa-young twisted again. How can you sell anything with just the hangover soup? Jay could hardly hold it in any longer. So he coldly said, Sir, if you continue bothering us, please leave the shop. At that moment, Bei walked up, switching to full politeness mode. Haha, we'll have the servings of hangover soup. Jay frowned and walked inside to prepare. Since Guanggu is a regular, I let it slide. As soon as he entered the kitchen, he sighed. Even if I look at him with all my scholarly disdain, it won't solve anything. Even if I hate him, he's still a customer, paying for his meal like everyone else. After reminding himself with a few philosophical words, Jay regained his inner calm and steady composure. The 2 bowls of hangover soup were finally finished and brought out. Has the hangover soup you ordered been prepared already, right now? There are a lot of anonymous comments online about the paddle team. As for the information, Lee Sa-young has already paid $1.5 million in advance to the hangover soup shop, so she can eat there every day. Jay even posted about being obstructed by Lee Sa-young in his business and also asked all netizens for advice on how he should handle the situation. It's better to report this annoying harassment directly to the police or the management bureau, Jay muttered while watching through the phone. For hunters with a certain level of fame, as long as you have proof, the management bureau's hunters will immediately come to handle it. After reading, Jay stretched out with a sigh of frustration. Damn it, even if I report it, it's unlikely to be resolved quietly. What's that supposed to mean? Just tell me, the head in the Nami, if that's the case. Then half of South Korea would already know who that is, considering the top rank. That position is exactly like that. Every move and action of the person at the top could become the cause of a great war between those who curse and those who are grateful. Jay thought to himself, nodding his head indeed. It was a dilemma with no easy solution. Since that day, the demon came every day to pester him. Despite that, Jay still had to force a smile and greet it like a distinguished guest. In truth, he was extremely annoyed inside. What the hell was this? It was clearly trying to sabotage his business. Every time that brat showed up, the customers around him wouldn't dare to sit anymore. To resolve this, one option is for me to return to being a hunter, or the other is for me to have a lot of money. If I want Lee Sa-young to be condemned by society, I need solid evidence. If the evidence is insufficient, I could easily face a counterattack. The most accurate method is to record all of Lee Sa-young's actions and post them publicly. However, the opponent is an S-rank hunter, so if I use a regular recorder or camera, Lee Sa-young will immediately detect it. It means that I have to use a device made from items taken from the dungeon in order to prevent it from being easily damaged. Or I need a hidden recorder that is hard to detect. Jay began searching for prices online, but the search ended quickly because everything was ridiculously expensive. Back when he was still Jay of the past, with millions of people knowing his name, he couldn't even remember how much these things cost. In this day and age, with prices inflated to hundreds of millions, it had been so long that the poor young man could only scratch his head. You have been too busy with life to ever buy anything luxurious. Today, you started to consider registering as a hunter, but then you decided against it because you thought it was too dangerous. Things are different now compared to before. They now have a department dedicated to managing awakened individuals. Just hope that the data about you hasn't been erased, and if it's still stored, you'll only be left with stealing for survival. Even if you don't worry about that, you still won't be able to adjust your strength. I'm afraid it would be worse if I broke the measuring device. Unable to speak, in that moment, his peaceful hidden life would be over for good. Just thinking about it made Jay dizzy. He became even more enraged, cursing under his breath. If it weren't for that little brat, he wouldn't be suffering like this. He opened the space storage and took out a shimmering stone. Back then, this pile of magic stones was useless, so I just tossed them into a corner. Recently, it seems like they're being used here, and they're quite a lot. Maybe I should sell one. By selling this one, I'll probably have enough money to buy a high-quality recorder. Just like that. You post it on the exchange, and it would be great if it sells in the hunter's market, but to sell there, you need a hunter's registration card. However, when he reopened his account on the Tomato platform he used to use, the system notified him that it was unavailable. It seemed that the old account was lost, so the young man decided to create a new account from scratch. After thinking about a nickname, he chose to name himself Easy, Ting, Ting, Ting. As, welcome to Tomato Market. Please turn on your location to register your area. Jay started fiddling with the stone, trying to capture the clearest photo possible. Will it sell if I post it for 80 million? In the end, the young man settled on a price and added a description. This is a rare magic stone with exceptionally high purity, difficult to find. Please contact Charnago for purchase. Jay began to think about what he would do once he had money. Once it's sold, I'll buy a coat for Grandma and Hong. Oh, and I'll also pay for Grandma's leg surgery. Suddenly, the shared phone rang loudly. The constant ringing made him think the phone was broken. Jay was startled and opened it to see hundreds of comments. They were tearing into him, and some even threatened to report him to the Regulatory Bureau if Jay was found to be scamming. He read through them, his face blank, mouth agape. Is the price of the magic stone higher than I thought? I only posted it to set the price according to my standards. How much have the times changed? The phone kept vibrating nonstop to the point of dizziness. He decided to log out and just delete the damn account. At that moment, a comment appeared, expressing curiosity. I'm curious about why SS deleted that account. Jay was also confused and replied right away. Others have taken advantage of my post too much, so I've encountered some troublemakers. Another reason is that they cursed me just after talking to me. For the first time, truly despicable people. Jay collapsed and wanted to escape from this dreadful world. It didn't stop there. News spread online about someone selling a magic stone for 80 million coins, including the fact that he deleted his account just 2 minutes later. Everyone started buzzing with comments. What kind of monster do you have to catch to get a rank in Magic Stone? You have to catch a monster that's the boss of at least a level to dungeon. But from the picture, that stone has a very high purity, which means it must come from a monster in a level 1 dungeon. Everyone was even more surprised by this information and continued discussing. That means the person who posted this must be a very high-ranked hunter. Just by looking at the picture, one can tell that it's in a rank magic stone. This stone even caught the attention of Yeseong Hong. Yeseong Hong has already posted it on Instagram. He asked why something so precious wasn't posted on the hunter market, but instead on the tomato market. The Instagram post is as follows. I don't know who you are, but just name a price, and I'll come by directly right away. In another development, in a desolate mountain forest where somehow there's Wi-Fi, Yeseong Hong is holding a phone, trembling and shouting like crazy. Give me the stone. Yeseong Hong is ranked 7th on the South Korean leaderboard. He is the one and only S-rank crafter, known by the nickname The Freak. After reading the information, Yeseong Hong continued to flail around like a fool. As for you, Sir Yeseong Hong, you are not allowed to look at anything. Oh my God, please get that stone for me. The soldier sitting beside him laughed in a confusing manner. When did this village start picking up Wi-Fi signals like this, before bringing him here? Didn't any of you cut off the internet connection? A female manager leaned in and whispered. Of course. We disconnected the internet, but Lee Sa-young reconnected all the communication lines and Wi-Fi for him, right after that. He promised to take responsibility for making the gloves, as the price to pay for being able to use the internet. Jong Bing looked at Yeseong Hong's helpless appearance and felt utterly frustrated. That person really isn't any help at all. Once this crafting is done, you'd better cut off my connection immediately. Yeseong Hong, ignoring everything, struggled even harder. I have to go to Seoul. Give me that stone. Jeong Bin was so frustrated that he just pulled the screen out. Seriously. It was you who eagerly insisted on going all the way to Mount Jiri just to start working. Do you realize that the deadline is almost up? You won't be able to leave here until you finish making all the weapons. Only then did Yesyeonghong stop struggling. He has a characteristic called deadline finisher, the close of the deadline for completion. The higher his work productivity and the faster his work speed. If he creates an item right when the skill is activated, it will increase the item's quality by 50%. Yesyeonghong also has another characteristic, which is a heavy fire body. Whatever it is, I always want to delay it as much as possible. Yesyeonghong went crazy and called Bin-young, the responsible staff member. Hey, look at this stone. If we craft a weapon with this magical stone, the weapon will at least reach level S. I could tell that just from looking at the picture. Bin-young was also stunned after hearing that. The equipment created so far had only reached the highest rank of S level. Yet, he claimed that using that magical stone could create an S level weapon. Bin-young began to think and investigate immediately. The seller of the stone had a mysterious background. It wasn't until I arrived at Jiri Mountain that I heard about him. The stone belonged to a type that had never been traded anywhere in the country, so it was certainly a stolen item, taken from somewhere to be sold. Yet, someone with exceptional abilities like Yesyeonghong was able to confirm its quality the moment he laid eyes on it. No matter where the stone had suddenly appeared from, it was strange. Could it be related to what Lee Sa-young mentioned earlier? Looking down, Yesyeonghong was still rolling around. Bin-young asked, "First of all, did you hear me? This stone is extremely valuable, right? Of course, just by looking at it, you can tell it's top-tier quality, completely different from those mixed with impurities or tainted with monster poison. Please, I beg you, give me that stone." Bin-young continued with curiosity. "So you can figure out who has the ability to find that stone, right?" With a muffled voice. Yesyeonghong responded. "At the very least, that person should be within the top 100. Bin-young continued. "The top-ranked people usually don't leave traces like this, like a rookie. They wouldn't participate in trade, right?" In a state of melancholy, Yesyeonghong muttered, "I'm not an idiot. There's the black market, and even the hunter market, yet you posted it on Tomato Market. What the hell were you thinking?" Just like that. Yesyeonghong continued to roll around and then shouted, "How am I supposed to watch Tomato Market all the way in Seoul when I'm at Jiri Mountain? Next time, just take me and lock me up in North Korea's mountains." Bin-young continued to wait for the person to return, saying, "Yes, all right. I will report to the bureau chief the location you chose for the next storage, which is North Han Mountain. Also, as for the stone required for that technique, I will try to find it at this moment." Yesyeonghong finally paused and became a little quieter. Bin-young smiled brightly, as if to confirm, "Yes, with enough effort and grinding iron, one can eventually turn it into a sword." In another development, Jay was still working very diligently, but he kept feeling itchy all over him. Looking outside, he realized that Lee Sa-young hadn't shown up today at noon, which made him feel very happy and at peace. However, outside, there was a lot of noise as people were talking excitedly. Everyone had seen the post on Hunter.net from yesterday afternoon. They said some crazy guy was selling rank of magic stones on the Tomato Market for 80 million. The teams are in complete chaos right now. Jay feels quite helpless as they keep calling him a madman. The chatter continues outside. Is he posting to scam people? It's possible he just downloaded pictures from the internet and uploaded them. Hey, Yesyeonghong said he'll craft weapons for free for anyone who gets that stone. He's even offering a cash prize too. Jay was taken aback, his body stiffening in shock. He was quite surprised, unable to understand why they were going so far with this. They had even included a cash reward. One thing that until now, you thought was garbage and threw into a bin. The chatter grew louder and louder. Bought it for 80 million, and then just selling it back could make a few $100 million in profit. No joke, if only that guy each posted another update. But I think that person deleted the post and even erased their account. Facial care? Why pull back after asking for help? Register the account again immediately. I was planning to go to the seafood market today to ask the mackerel to find it. Do you think the mackerel will be able to find it if it can't be found? Then that means losing the title of the person with the most information in South Korea. Jay saw how they cherished the stone like this and broke out in a sweat. Back then, you would always take the magic stones out to play marbles because you thought they were useless. For anything else, it turns out, tenures can make even the most stubborn change. The magic stones from the past were items that only those who truly needed them would buy. First, they were collectibles for the rich. Second, they were trophies for the hunters. However, during the time Jay was imprisoned in the dungeon, technology developed rapidly. According to research results, magical stones are different from energy sources like coal or oil. They are not destroyed by the environment, so humans can efficiently extract energy from them. Furthermore, gold can also be extracted from the discarded magical stones. Jay actually just accidentally posted something for sale, but the rumors have spread to such an extent that he's now feeling dizzy. Checking the post on Hong Yi-sung's Instagram, it's gone incredibly viral with over 500,000 likes. Jay felt helpless. This crazy guy, what am I supposed to do with him if I just stay quiet? He might post more on Instagram and make things even worse, but I haven't sold the stone yet, so it's still a bit tricky. Thinking about the fact that his grandmother's leg still hadn't been treated due to lack of funds made him even more anxious. Just as he was staring at his phone, Bin-young casually walked in from somewhere. Hello. The moment he looked up, Jay immediately panicked. Bin-young continued to glance around, assessing the situation. Jay was now flustered, not understanding how Bin-young had managed to find his way here. Some people who were enjoying the hangover soup also felt uncomfortable. Crazy, first Lee Sa-young, now Bin-young. Who are they trying to catch? Who's it? Hurry up and surrender. Seeing the crowd getting restless, Bin-young waved his hand to defend himself. Today, I didn't come here for work. I just came to have dinner. I just got back from a business trip. With his heart pounding rapidly, Jay activated the poker bluff skill in hopes that Bin-young wouldn't recognize him. In fact, within the army, only the past Jay was known when wearing a mask. Maintaining as calm a demeanor as possible, Jay politely invited Bin-young to take a seat. Please. Would you like to sit? Are you here alone? Yes, I'm here alone. Just look at the menu on the wall and order, he said. At that moment, Jay was startled once again when Lee Sa-young approached. Upon seeing Bin-young, Lee Sa-young also showed a surprised expression. That's strange. Why is a government official here? This is my territory. Jay was irritated again, originally thinking that he wouldn't show up today, yet here he was, not missing a single day. Bin-young flashed a smile that could hardly be described as friendly. Of course, I came for dinner. I didn't expect to run into you, Lee Sa-young, here. Lee Sa-young hesitated for a moment. I guess I didn't expect this either. Just like that, the two of them sat at the same table, chatting away merrily. Bin-young spoke first. I have something I want to discuss with you, but personal matters shouldn't be talked about in public like this. Can we exchange contact information? Also, the director has told me that I must pay the compensation for the damages incurred earlier. Upon hearing this, Bin-young immediately pulled something out from his hidden space. Jay glanced furtively. Is that an item to separate space? Immediately after, they had a secret conversation, avoiding being overheard. Bin-young brought it up. Captain Lee Sa-young, the person you mentioned who didn't register last time, have you found them? No. I should ask, you found them already, right? Items that separate space are commonly used when confidential matters need to be discussed. However, when it comes to their critical weaknesses, if the listener holds a rank higher than the rank of the item, they can still break through the protective layer to listen in. For this reason, at this moment, Jay is eavesdropping on the conversation between the two. Bin-young asked Lee Sa-young, do you know about the recent news that someone is selling a rank magic stones on the tomato market? Lee Sa-young responded casually, if I didn't know about that, I'd quit being a hunter altogether. Bin-young chuckled reluctantly. Do you know about Hong Yi-sung throwing a tantrum? Demanding to get that magic stone no matter what. It's because someone, who everyone knows who it is, connected the internet for him. So that's why he's acting like this. Lee Sa-young shrugged, looking innocent and clueless. Well, I have a rough idea. Bin-young seemed to tense up, his face becoming serious. Let me give you my conclusion. I suspect the person you're looking for, the one who signed up, is actually the owner of that stone. If someone has the ability to obtain a B-rank magic stone, at the very least, that person must be in the top 100 of the rankings, of course. The top-ranking individuals would use the hunter market, because both the buyers and sellers' identities must be verified for the large transaction to be secure. If we say it's due to the commission fees and taxes paid to the hunter market being high, it's true that it might seem a bit steep for government employees. But there is still another option, which is to sell it on the black market. Why bother spending effort using a common app to post sales that anyone can see? If you want to sell quietly and discreetly, there are dozens of other ways. After all, why did that person post the magic stone for sale on Tomato Market? What's more, they even sold it for a ridiculously low price. It could be that the seller couldn't prove they were a hunter, which is why they had to use the Tomato Market platform. There are only two possibilities. The person is either an ordinary person or an unregistered amateur hunter. However, I believe the probability that an ordinary person would possess such a high-level magic stone is almost zero at this point. My conclusion is that the person holding such a high-level magic stone can only be an extremely skilled hunter who is not registered. In other words, this is the very person that Lee Sa-young is looking for. Jay stood outside, sweating profusely. They were indeed too sharp. Fortunately, I overheard this conversation. Otherwise, it would have been disastrous. From now on, I must be more cautious in every action I take. Suddenly, Lee Sa-young glanced behind. Jay felt his heart race, startled and tense, as if Lee Sa-young already knew he was eavesdropping in the conversation between Jongbin and Lee Sa-young. Lee Sa-young remained silent, making Jongbin feel like everything he had said so far had no effect. After a while, Lee Sa-young finally responded, "It's nothing. What if it's just another unregistered hunter?" Jongbin continued, "There's an upcoming auction for weapons crafted by Yeseong-hong, so those with strength will be returning to Korea. But those people can't stir up a storm like this, because whether they come or go, they always do so quietly," Lee Sa-young insisted. "A few months ago, there was a newly awakened S-rank hunter. What if it's that person? Although in the system, Jongbin is naturally the trusted one, you know who that person is. The girl isn't old enough to be an adult yet and is at an important stage of her studies, so she doesn't have the time for those things. Besides, she's not a hunter, nor does she fight." Lee Sa-young hesitated. I heard that girl is in her senior year of high school, right?" Jongbin snapped his fingers. "Yes, so when she has free time, she'll work part-time to prepare for exams." Not knowing what else to say, Lee Sa-young continued to make excuses. Let's say that's the case, but I still haven't found that person." Jongbin froze. "If, up until now, you, Min Haiwoo, still haven't found them, then," Lee Sa-young responded, "well, maybe that person is planning to set a trap to drive away any suspicious individuals." Jongbin hesitated, finding this reasoning plausible. Indeed, it couldn't be ruled out. "If you find this person, you must contact me, all right?" Finally, the time to close the shop arrived, and Jay wearily slumped down, feeling a headache coming on. Why do I have the feeling this will keep happening? To make matters worse, before leaving and paying, Jongbin even exclaimed, "It's really delicious. I'll come here often." Just thinking about it gave Jay a headache, and they only wanted to curse. "Please, don't come back here anymore. Why do you all have to come to a hangover soup shop? Anyway, this place has become Lee Sa-young's zone, but is it not enough yet? Now there's even Jongbin's zone added in unbelievable." While still in a daze, someone knocked on the door. It was none other than Lee Sa-young. He immediately showed a clear expression of disdain. "We've closed the shop. Please leave." Lee Sa-young still tried. "Open the door. I'm here because I have something to say." "Stop complaining again. I already told you that it's after hours and we're closed for business." Lee Sa-young insisted. "You better listen to me if you don't want to see Jongbin again tomorrow." He angrily slammed his hand against the wall. "It's you, isn't it? You're the one who called Jongbin here," Lee Sa-young retorted, clearly. "It was you who called him here." He fumed. "You're saying he came to find me, huh? I'm smart, not stupid." "What do you mean by that?" Lee Sa-young pretended to be innocent, spreading her hands as if she didn't understand. "But if Fu hadn't dropped that bombshell at Tomato Market, there's no way he'd have come all the way here." Immediately after, it was J.'s turn to play dumb. "What are you talking about? What does Tomato Market have to do with me?" "Is that so? No matter who comes looking, just pretend like that. Make sure to hide it well. If you don't open the door, I'll melt it down right here." With a frustrated expression, she clenched her fist. "Try it. I'll report you to the management office." Lee Sa-young remained stubborn. "You always make me feel so embarrassed, left with no choice." Jay reluctantly opened the door with an annoyed, grimacing face. As soon as they entered, Lee Sa-young took off her mask again. Those people would continue to come looking for him later. He crossed his arms and retorted, "Don't say such creepy things." Lee Sa-young replied with tears in her eyes, "Is that so? Of course. Why didn't you post about selling him on those second-hand market sites? You're really good at making a big deal out of nothing. Not only that, you even posted it on Tomato Market in the special district. No wonder this is happening. Distill tried to play it off and deny. I told you, it's not me. Lee Sa-young pointed her finger. Fine, then, I won't say it's you. Let's just say I'm talking about that crazy lunatic who posted the magic stone for sale on Tomato Market. Didn't dare to look her in the eye but still acted tough, warning Lee Sa-young. Speak carefully. People don't know. That's why they did it, right? They're probably regretting it now. Lee Sa-young continued to glance sideways and mutter in agreement. Is that so? You don't look like you're regretting anything. That person has eaten 5,000 more bowls of rice than you. So why are you using honorifics when talking to me? Change your attitude, shut the door, and be quiet. By the way, I need your advice on something. I have a friend who made a very big mistake, but this person doesn't realize the gravity of their error and cannot imagine how serious the situation could get. The mistake seems more severe than they think. The person has been surrounded by a group of others, like a mess of tangled threads. Lee Sa-young also appeared very focused and attentive, saying, Oh, is that so? Oh dear, then that won't do. Dee continued to explain. This friend of mine wants to resolve their inner turmoil in the quietest way possible. How can no one know? Simply because that friend wants to live a peaceful life. Lee Sa-young smiled faintly. Ah, so you want to live in peace, huh? I really like that idea. Let's make a deal. The mistake you made, I'll handle it quickly and cleanly. Jay asked bluntly, What do you want immediately? Lee Sa-young quickly closed the distance and got right up to Jay's face. I want you, Huang. Jay turned pale. Lee Sa-young continued, I think someone with great abilities, but not belonging to any organization. Also, I'm looking for someone who is a bit more low-key, with few acquaintance there. In other words, the fewer people who know them, the better. I even thought I would have to give up because I couldn't find anyone suitable. Just at that moment, you appeared, like fate itself. I tried to search for information about you, but whether it was the high school you attended or even the area around your house, I couldn't find anything at all. Everything seems to have been sucked into the crack. I heard that both his parents passed away on the day the crack opened. He doesn't have any living relatives, so nothing could be found. I tried to see if he had ever signed a work contract anywhere, but there were no contracts either. There were no transactions in the bank, and his phone number was only registered a few months ago. I couldn't find any of his previous information. The old woman who runs the shop and her granddaughter are actually not related to you, right? They're all strangers. To be honest, Jay didn't know how to respond, so all they could do was grit their teeth and tighten their fists. Sai continued, I truly couldn't find any information about you at all. I had originally planned to meet every request you made in order to recruit you into my team. But it's clear now that this shop is the only thing that matters to you, right? Hyung, is there something you're looking for? Facing this question, Jay bluntly replied that he wasn't. Sai-Yang then moved closer and said, If that's the case, let me offer a suggestion afterward. Sai-Yang pulled out an iPad from his spatial storage and began pressing buttons. Do you know Nam-gu Jin? He's a Heller Rank A. Upon hearing this, Jay was taken aback, realizing it was the only Heller Rank A in South Korea. Currently ranked 6th in South Korea, the captain of the Seoul World team, and nicknamed the Librarian, Min Hai seemed to have grasped all of Dai's desires. His grandmother's leg was being treated by Nam-gu Jin. How does he feel about that? I can't do anything to help. Dee appeared quite surprised. Sai, he continued, I heard your grandmother's leg was in pain. Dee maintained an expression of surprise. In a rank Heller, someone whom ordinary people cannot even meet is treating a commoner's leg. Say something that makes more sense. Sai-Yang, however, appeared very confident in what he had just said. Seoul World and Pardo have a cooperative relationship, so I can ask him to treat you. Before awakening, he was a trauma and orthopedic surgeon, so he'll understand your condition well. What do you think? This seemed to have softened a bit and responded, Sai-Yang. What's your reason for doing this to me? You investigated every bit of information about someone just to find their weakness and exploit it. Even you've thrown bait for me. In short, what's the reason you're trying so hard to pull me in? If I refuse today, you'll probably go around spreading the word that I'm the awakened hunter, won't you? Be clear. What do you want? Sai glanced at him, emitting with her eyes. I've considered that approach too, but simply threatening isn't a good method. Because if I do that, you'll conclude that I'm telling you we can't walk the same path. Do you still remember the guy you saw on the first day we met? There's a strange type of drug that started circulating a few years ago, normally. Drugs for ordinary people and narcotics have no effect on those who have awakened. But strangely, this particular one causes an extremely violent reaction, increasing aggression, poisoning the user, and transforming the body. Z seemed quite surprised when he heard this information. Is it really possible to end up like this just from using drugs? Lee Sa-young shrugged and replied, "That's the troublesome part. In short, you're trying to track down the masterminds supplying this drug. But both you and the members of your team are already familiar to everyone. So, the deeper we infiltrate, the more the clues are cut off. That's why we can't just send any member. That person will either be eliminated by them or become addicted to the drugs, just like they are." Z began to think, if we're talking about the ability to win when fighting against those who use poison, then I do meet the conditions that Lee Sa-young mentioned. But he didn't explain how I should find those people. From what I've observed so far, it's clear that he's not acting in the name of justice. Why does he need to find those people? Seeing Z standing frozen, Lee Sa-young quickly asked, "To be more specific, you'll have to make a deal with me before I tell you. To be honest, matters related to drugs need to be kept confidential, so I have to keep that secret. Otherwise, Bin-young and the others will come looking for me here." Z continued to stand frozen, thinking to himself, this brat is trying to lure me in by revealing a secret to bind me, isn't he? Lee Sa-young then patted Z on the shoulder and said, "Take your time to think about it." Z was startled, immediately switching to an impatient tone. "You should go now. I still have to close the shop." However, Lee Sa-young remained standing there, spreading his hand out, unsure of what to do with it. It turned out he wanted Z to give him his phone to save the number. Z, with a frown, showed his irritation. "No need. Lee Sa-young is still jumping. My phone number is worth a lot, you know. Z is pretending to threaten me. I'll sell your phone number at Tomato Market, just so you know." Lee Sa-young only smiled. "If that's the case, then you'll have to see me often, her." Since that day, Z never saw Lee Sa-young again, but the curses Lee Sa-young spat out had turned into a prophecy. From the day after that, many people started calling and following up, and the restaurant's phone kept ringing nonstop. "Yes, this is the soup restaurant. Can I help you? Hello. I'm reporter Kim So-young from MBB Television. Could you pick up the phone, please?" She tried to stay calm and replied, "I'm sorry. We don't do food delivery." On the other end of the line, a voice broke in. "I didn't call for food delivery. I'm calling to ask if you're interested in appearing on television. Our show is called Live One Today, airing at 7 p.m. every day of the week." Z had declined, but they continued anyway. "If your shop were promoted as the favorite shop of hunters, it would be very beneficial for your business." Z seemed unable to remain calm any longer. "I'm not interested. The shop is busy with customers, so I'll excuse myself and hang up. Calls like this come in every day. Sometimes, even a few people come here to film random things. But Z has already caught them. Sir, please turn off the camera you have in your bag. Filming without permission is illegal." After being caught red-handed, the guests continuously denied everything. There's no camera here. How can you say that? Where did you see it?" The hunters in the tavern also became furious. "Hey, you bastard, we heard the camera buzzing clearly. How dare he look down on the keen senses of a hunter like us?" Even the hunters stood up to reveal their true faces. That little brat is a YouTuber who specializes in making videos slandering celebrities. After realizing he had been exposed, he bent his back and ran for his life. The hunters who stayed behind were still upset. If they couldn't catch him, at least 2 people here would surely end up on tabloid headlines. Just wait and see. What are you still sitting there for? Hurry up and catch that guy. Things like this keep happening over and over, just when everyone is about to forget. The old stories resurface again through Yesi Ong Hong's Instagram post. Even the kid received a surprise gift. This place was hot before, but now it's even hotter. It was a letter from the battery line with really nice handwriting. Suddenly receiving a signature from this line of the battery, it felt as if all vigilance had been lost. One had to pay attention to every little detail in everything. It could also be said that material determines consciousness. As soon as looking at the beautiful melee signature, Jay saw money. If it were the signature of the battery line, it would be of high value. Or should I just sell this signature on Tomato? Never mind. I don't want to get spammed with messages again. After struggling for a while, Jay finally stuck the piece of paper onto the wall. Before anything could progress, another character appeared. It was a rank hunter, ranked 5th on the Korean leaderboard, with the nickname Honeybee. She had just stopped in front of the shop when someone shouted, "Mr. Scorpion," which made her extremely irritated. She almost slapped the young man in the face. While still dazed, not knowing what the 5th-ranked hunter was doing here, she yelled, "Lai Shawai, you come out here." Jay now understood the reason and thought, I see, this kid, Mr. Scorpion, really does cause a lot of trouble. Seeing Jay staring at her without blinking, Honeybee turned in surprise and asked, "Is there a problem?" Jay remained frozen. She truly didn't know if there was a problem, which was why she asked. But luckily, she knew how to speak gently to ordinary people. For this reason, Jay immediately took on the role of a gentle, composed young man and asked her, "Are you Honeybee? Oh, I'm actually a fan of yours. You act so deep, but in reality, it's your niece who's the fan." Immediately, Honeybee became all cool and dazzling, shining as she untied her hairband on the show. Jay was stunned, not understanding how she was performing right in front of him. Well, for now, he might as well just go along and pretend to be a hardcore fan. Spending time on something like this made Jay feel embarrassed on her behalf. He was already annoyed, and the name Lee Sa-young only made it worse. He swore that if that guy showed up, he'd grab him by the neck and punch him nonstop. Honeybee had a moment of pure bliss. "So you're a fan of mine, huh? I'm sorry. That was so sudden. With your shop being like this, you must be really startled, right?" Jay pretended to wave his hand. It's fine. No worries." Honeybee pretended to scratch his head. "Oh dear, I'm truly sorry. Just now, I lost control of my anger a little." Before he could finish his sentence, a voice from outside grumbled, "Who the heck parked their motorcycle like this?" Honeybee barely had time to calm down for a few seconds before the commotion erupted again. As he shouted loudly, "That crazy bastard, let go of that hand right now." Bigang-gu was yanking at the cart and, upon hearing that, froze. "So it's your beloved iron horse, huh? Parking it like this, do you think it's acceptable?" Upon recognizing the familiar face, she quickly headed for the door. "Hey, Division, are you here alone? Where's Lee Sa-young?" Bigang-gu appeared embarrassed. "I told you not to call me by the hunter's nickname. Please just use my real name." Honeybee stubbornly continued to look around. "Where's Lee Sa-young? Didn't she come with you?" Bigang-gu looked serious. "I'm curious about the matter you want to discuss too. Let's order food first. Then we can talk about the main issue, all right?" Honeybee reluctantly walked in with a somewhat unusual attitude. "What's on the menu here?" Bigang-gu ordered immediately, as a habit. "I'll have a hangover soup with extra green chilies." Honeybee followed suit, ordering the same. Before Jay even stepped inside, Bigang-gu got straight to the point. "Now, speak up. What's the matter? Why do you need to meet with him? What has he done this time?" "The magic stone that is being sold at the tomato market. You know about it, right?" Jay activated the listening mode again, raising his hand. Honeybee continued, "I really need that magic stone so badly." Bijan-ji smirked. "Is it really that urgent?" Hearing a slightly sarcastic tone, Honeybee continued to buzz. "Whoever brought that stone to Yeseong-hong would have him craft a weapon for them, wouldn't they? I really need an S-level weapon." Bigang-gu sighed at this. "Oh right, the ordinary weapon you usually use is broken, isn't it?" When Jay heard that familiar name, he couldn't help but be startled. "Remember back in the day, I hit on Yeseong-hong a few times." Next came Honeybee's boastful words, full of confidence. "I heard the ranking system is about to be updated. Once I find the magic stone for Yeseong-hong, I'll ask him to forge my own specialized S-rank weapon. By that time, when the rankings are rearranged, I will definitely stand tall and win. I have already planned it out perfectly. That's why I enlarged the photo of the magic stone to see if there was any reflection in it. Additionally, I have sent the photo for analysis to figure out what kind of film was used to take the picture. The piece of paper used as the background for the photo of the stone was also carefully examined to determine what kind of paper it was. I am using all my strength to extract the data from that image down to every single nano unit. In order to make a judgment, Jay was left speechless upon hearing this. Even Wanwoo and his group were stunned. Was it really to that extent? Honeybee continued to explain clearly. Just a few days ago, the investigation into the information was still gradually making progress. But what happened a few days ago? Why did the lead suddenly get cut off? It's clear that Lee Sa-young, that guy from the phone, blocked everything just as I was about to uncover all the information, fuming with anger. Honeybee slammed his fist onto the table, then immediately froze, startled. Did I damage the table? Luckily, Wanwoo's group managed to stop the punch, otherwise Honeybee would have had to pay for the damage. Honeybee sighed in relief and then continued. Thank you. In short, it's for that reason that I had to come all the way here. B. Wanwoo showed a fierce expression and asked in return. But what does Exit and our team have to do with each other? Honeybee got even more annoyed. If you don't know, who else could possibly know? Jay stood inside the kitchen, silent, just listening. Then he silently thought that it was related, but it was related to his team leader, not his own team. After finishing their meal, Honeybee happily grabbed a big sheet of paper and walked over to Jay, calling out loudly, Hey, staff member, I've got something for you. As soon as Jay unfolded the paper, he saw Honeybee's huge face along with a signature. Jay froze for 5 seconds while Honeybee grinned widely, saying, I saw it earlier. Did you stick everyone's signatures on the wall? I specially gave that to you. Go ahead and put my signature up too. B. Wanwoo looked at it and thought Jay was really a fan of hers. Oh, the staff member is a hardcore fan of Honeybee. Wow, you should come here often then. They're saying they're a fan of yours. In this moment of despair, Jay just wanted the guy to shut up. Honeybee, like always, in the corner, declared with a drop of disdain. Well, even though I'm very busy, I can still make time to come again. Jay was startled, his words coming from the bottom of his heart, urging them not to come back here. But remembering his niece, who had followed along with Honeybee, Jay reminded himself to curse them less. As soon as he returned, Wanwoo and Pardo's vice team leader had already thrown open the door, reprimanding him from a distance. You skipped your meal again, didn't you? As a human, you should have some love for food. Lately, you've been eating properly. So why did you suddenly skip your meal today? There's an official notice from the Bureau of Awakening Management. On the day the ranking is announced, they will urgently gather those on the list. I hope you'll cooperate. He moved his 2 legs slightly, as if nodding. B. Wanwoo was already so accustomed to this that he understood the meaning. Okay, our team will be responsible for the dungeon at Zhongyu number 3. The Vanguard team will go ahead to clear, and then the research team will enter afterwards to investigate the resources in the dungeon. Also, as for the Seoul Wanbao team, we should pick a day for them to come here and meet Shayi. However, remained still and silent, responding only by twitching his leg. Wanwoo suddenly cleared his throat. There's only that much urgency for now. And I think I should go film a commercial or something. At this moment, Shayi was slightly startled. B. Wanwoo continued, saying that the young staff member at the soup shop who was responsible for detoxifying alcohol turned out to be a fan of Honeybee. I thought he had no interest at all in hunters. Sure enough, one cannot underestimate people with high public recognition. This data is important enough and captivating for Sha to immediately jump up. What did you say? B. Wanwoo was stunned. I said we can't underestimate the recognition that comes from those mass advertisements. No. Before that, the woman. B. Wanwoo still didn't understand and responded. I'll go shoot the advertisement. Shayi, irritated, shouted out, Damn it, do you really want this? Or are you just pretending not to understand? By Wanwoo, scolded, was hurt and almost cried. Hey, wait a minute, has anyone done anything? Has anyone touched me? Shayi, gritting his teeth, asked again, holding back his anger. You said the staff at the store does something extra. The staff at the store does something extra. Huh? He's a fan of Honeybee. Honeybee even signed a poster and gave it to him. I also need to follow the old example and do some fan service. Seeing that, he no longer wanted to stay motionless and immediately gave an order. Call the marketing team leader up here. B. Wanwoo's eyes lit up immediately. Huh? Are you going to let me shoot the commercial? Sha, with a swift movement, removed his mask and urged B. Wanwoo to hurry up. G, who was working, saw a message from Sha asking him to open CBS. G glanced up at the TV and thought, it's been a while since he last came here. And now he suddenly wants me to turn on the CBS channel for what? As soon as it turned on, he saw Honeybee's image in a commercial. G scratched his head, completely confused. Surely, he doesn't mean for me to watch the Honeybee advertisement, does he? What's the next program after this? Right after that, there's another advertisement. Far away, the man in the mask also stepped out. G was frozen, still watching. while the TV continued to play. To register as a hunter, please call the hotline at 777. To report unregistered hunters or to report the criminal behavior of hunters, please call 555. The Awakener Management Bureau is always with you. The TV continuously broadcast the sound of a machine gun, followed by reminders that sounded like warnings. After awakening their abilities, regardless of any special reasons, those who do not register with the Management Bureau within a month will face a fine of up to 100 million. We kindly ask those who have awakened their abilities to visit the registration centers in each area to fulfill their registration obligations. This advertisement serves the purpose of benefiting the community. A small figure stood in the midst of the crowded shop. Diff rose, clenching his fists. Isn't this just like telling me to go kill myself if I don't register? The phone rang again. It was another message from the old man. Have you seen it yet? I heard you like people who do commercials. Reading up to this point, Jay froze again. What the hell are you talking about, you crazy bastard? In another scene, Jongbing remained silent in the room, listening to the ticking of the clock as time passed. Captain, would you like a snack? You must be really tired since you're on the night shift, right? Jongbing smiled and asked the staff, yes, could you bring me an energy bar, please? Finally, it was almost time to announce the ranking that the hunters had been eagerly waiting for. Day and night. In 12 minutes, they will be able to view the new ranking list. The TV is currently airing the Literary Classics segment. Once a year, the system will compile information on the strength and activity levels of hunters to generate a new ranking order. I wonder what ranking the system will give this time. I'm really curious. The male protagonist on the TV screen appeared very excited. Although the system's ranking calculation method is not fully disclosed, we all know that it is based not only on rank level, but also on the extent of the hunter's supernatural abilities. Thanks to this, a rank hunter can have a higher ranking than an S-rank hunter. Over the past year, many new hunters have risen like stars and have been active in their pursuits. The ranking this time might see a significant change. However, experts have also predicted that there will be little change among the top hunters, specifically the top 20 positions. Let's take a look at the ranking predictions. The experts' prediction chart remains the same as before. Rank 1 is still Lee Sa-young, and Rank 3 remains Jongbin. Next are the host's comments. Oh, the predicted rankings are exactly the same as the current rankings. Yes, that's right. It is expected that the rankings from the past 2 years will continue to be maintained. Hearing this, Jongbin also felt a bit down, as the prediction board was filled with the same old names. Just then, snacks and tea were brought over, and the staff member standing next to him asked, Captain, do you think the rankings will remain as predicted? Jongbin, while unwrapping the snack bar, replied with a nonchalant, absent-minded, and somewhat muffled tone. But if Honeybee gets an S-tier weapon, the standings might change. You never know. For now, the ranking this year will remain the same. The guy standing next to him nodded in agreement. It made sense. Top hunters never stay idle. They're all actively working. Just as the clock struck the hour, a notification appeared in front of all the hunters, changing the rankings. Do you want to check and confirm now? The moment it opened, everyone froze in shock. The top-ranked person on the updated leaderboard was G, rank S. All the hunters from last year's top ranks had been pushed down a level. Jongbin was so stunned that he immediately jumped up. G was reported to have sacrificed himself in the water crevice 8 years ago. How is he appearing again? The staff member standing next to Jongbin was sweating. Hey, Captain, what's going on? Is what I'm seeing real? Jongbin, unable to stay calm any longer, urgently asked. How many members are currently able to mobilize J immediately? The staff member stammered. Aside from those already present at the mission site, there are a total of 10 people available. Keep the minimum number of people here. The rest of J should be transferred to Inchin. Also, all the people on duty, including J, should be transferred as well. As soon as he heard the order, the young man immediately turned and ran off. Yes, understood. At that moment, Jongbin's phone rang. It's a call from the director. Calling you at this hour. You must be working hard. Have you seen the ranking? I've seen it. We plan to head to Incheon right now. The director suddenly lowered his voice. Yes, I believe you know what to do, Jongbin replied. Yes, after confirming whether the waterway on the Western Sea has opened again. I will investigate if there are any possibilities and whether any other hunters are still alive. At the same time, I will also search the surrounding area. The director instructed. You must find it, no matter what method you use. Jongbin suddenly froze. The deepest case could be the water crevice and Incheon appearing again. Jongbin immediately changed the helicopter to Jae and headed to Incheon, where the memorial stone was located. As soon as he arrived, he saw Lee Sa-young standing there. Jongbin hurriedly ran over him. "Captain Lee Sa-young, I'm here to check the stream. Has it opened yet?" Lee Sa-young answered indifferently. "It hasn't opened." Jongbin stood there, frozen in place, thinking to himself that he had arrived right after the rankings were announced. Yet the other person had even gotten there faster than him. The water rift in Incheon had disappeared after Jae entered it originally. It had been jointly managed by both the Rift Management Bureau and the Bureau of Awakened Individuals. However, the scale of the rift was too large to leave its handling to just one team, and the losses caused by the rift were too great. No team had returned after entering it. But then, one day, Lee Sa-young suddenly appeared. Instead of announcing the research results of the research center under the Pato team, he requested that the government grant him ownership of the rift. The government did not pretend to show any fake concern, and simply handed over a bomb to the Pato team. From that day onward, rumors, both big and small, began to spread continuously. Li Ming understood why they wanted to have ownership of the Incheon rift, and why he was here now. Could it be that Lee Sa-young had a mission related to the ownership of the water rift this time? Or is he just angry because Jae stole the first place ranking? On the outside, he seemed normal, but his energy was still swirling and howling within. After standing still for a moment, Lee Sa-young turned around and said to Jongbin, "If everything's been confirmed, then you can head back. And make sure you manage your hunters well." As soon as he finished speaking, another notification appeared before the hunters. "Jae has appeared." Jongbin didn't hesitate and immediately called his team. All members of the team quickly gathered, as it seemed that Jae was nearby. Before they could do anything, Lee Sa-young approached and warned Jongbin. "Jongbin, pass the message to Seok Jeong-ham that the ownership of the Incheon rift belongs to Team Pato. Everything that comes from the water's crevice belongs to me," in a different turn of events. Jae was standing in front of several trash sorting bins, his face contorted with an indescribable expression, as a ranking notification appeared right in front of him. "Congratulations, Ji, you have become the #1 ranked player in South Korea." Jae was at a loss, cursing under his breath. What the hell? Is the system going crazy or something? Why are they suddenly classifying trash and pushing me to rank first? What did I do that made you rank me first? The phone kept ringing with numerous new notifications. Jae opened it up and read all the news related to them. New update: Jae is ranked #1 on the South Korean leaderboard. Lee Sa-young, who had always remained motionless at the #1 position, was now pushed out of the top spot by Jae. The Awakening Management Bureau could not allow a single hunter to occupy the same position. For too long, it was not about name duplication. The Bureau suspected a system error and was in the process of verifying it. A scene was captured at the border as Jae was transferred by helicopter to Incheon. Jae read it and grimaced in disbelief. Oh my god, how could someone who has already passed away come back to life? Since the moment I escaped from the water rift, the things I've been doing include cleaning up, sorting trash, washing dishes, boiling broth to cure hangovers, picking up discount coupons, going to the market, helping out my nephews and nieces, and donating to those affected by the rift in Incheon. Also, once in a while, I deal with a few monsters that show up on the road, then pretend to be a regular civilian to report it to the Management Bureau. There's nothing more to it, right? But if the things I do are enough to make me rank first, then even a dog or a cow could rank first too, while you were praying and frustrated. The notification reappeared, and the special reward for the person who ranks first has been delivered. Do you accept? The notification bar only had an accept button, with no option to decline. Jae sighed. Do you think I'm an idiot? Pressing accept and going back to the way things were before. I absolutely won't press it. I'll just keep ignoring it. This deadline hasn't passed, and another one is already coming. Jae was once again stunned by the new notifications. The privileges that had been revoked before had been partially restored. Restoring authority, successfully restored access to channel #1 of South Korea, automatically connecting to channel #1. The young man, upon hearing this, widened his eyes in shock, frozen in place. Jae tried pressing the screen to make changes, but it was futile. What is this unruly system doing? Right now, all the other hunters are in an uproar. Some believe this is just a name conflict. Others are certain that hunters' nicknames cannot be duplicated. The zombie has messaged all the other hunters. I know that everyone is very confused right now. I am still in the process of verifying, so please be patient and wait. Another message was sent here, which was a question directed at the zombie. Is it possible that the water crack will open again? Jay suddenly felt a dizzying emptiness throughout his body. What? The water rift in Incheon has opened again. When I left the rift, I couldn't see it anymore. If the Incheon rift opens again, I must return to that hell once more. I will find all those who were left behind in it. I must pay the price for being the one who survived. The clattering sound right behind him startled him. He let out a sigh of relief when he realized it was just a bottle of liquor that the cat had knocked over. Jay continued to open his phone. Hey, next up, find a way to help me leave the Hunter Channel group chat after asking to search. There were no results at all. Jay could only sit there, clutching his head in helplessness. Damn it. The Awakening administration immediately began recording. This latest ranking release has resulted in many unexpected issues that we have not been able to control. We are holding this press conference so that you all can understand the current situation. This ranking is not due to a system error. It is not because the hunter's nickname is duplicated, nor is it because someone is using an account under the name Jay. I know this is hard to believe, but according to our internal investigation results, Jay is still alive. All the reporters present at the press conference were very surprised. How can you be so sure about that? Aside from Jay, is there anyone else who survived 8 years ago? The Awakening Management Bureau declared that all the hunters who entered the Sea Rift in the West had perished. Then why has the Bureau changed their statement if Jay is still alive? Where is he now? Standing before hundreds of cameras, the woman representing them answered, "We will expand the investigation to find the most accurate answer. We kindly ask for your patience and thank you sincerely." Jay is currently turning on the TV to watch the director of the Department of Awakening, and she is quite different from the way she looked 8 years ago. In her memory, Hemseoke had always been the one to take action, and at that time, it was a matter of right and proper, with evidence that no one could refute. She was an extremely cautious person, as steady as Mount Tai. Why was she so certain? Simply because Jay had logged into the #1 channel of the Hunters. It's impossible for her to hold a press conference and make such a statement. Just as the DVD was turned off, Lee Sa-young suddenly appeared at the door. Startling Jay, "What are you doing?" It turned out he was at the door of Shop A. Jay anxiously asked, "What are you planning to do?" In his heart, he was extremely uneasy. Could it be that he knows something about me already? What is he planning to do? Lee Sa-young, with a face as tense as a drawn bowstring, stomped over him. "That should be something you ask, right? Why didn't you contact me first? Damn it. I've been waiting for 2 weeks. As Lee Sa-young glared at him, Jay was still sweating, not knowing how to respond, because we didn't contact him, and now he's all sulking about it, huh? I never intended to reach out to someone who's waiting for me to make the first move. But if I'm being honest, it's not that I don't want to get in touch, it's just that I forgot." Jay turned away and said to brush it off, "I'm sorry I haven't responded to your trade proposal yet, but I've been really busy. Plus, I've been thinking it over quite a bit." Lee Sa-young just listened without taking it in, constantly making a dismissive face. Wow, turns out he's also been thinking about the game like this. Hearing this tone, Jay became even more wary. Why does this kid sound like he's mocking me today? Could it be because Jay took his #1 spot? That's true. He's been in the #1 position for 6 years, and then Jay. Out of nowhere, it was snatched away from him. So his temper has become even more unpredictable and irritable. Jay turned to look at Lee Sa-young with a pitying gaze. "What's with that look you're giving me?" "Ah, nothing. Just hang in there." Lee Sa-young continued to glare. "Are you messing with me now?" Jay waved his hand. "Messing with you? I'm being completely sincere." Lee Sa-young frowned and teased. "All right then. Who do you think went to film the commercial for? And yet, you've been pestering me for 2 whole weeks. Hang, do you know that you're really terrible?" Hearing this, Jay immediately became flustered. "That's right. What's with the advertisement? Why did you suddenly go and shoot such an advertisement?" Lee Sa-young acted innocent. "I heard you only like those who do advertisements, so what can we do?" Jay continued to freeze. Where had he even heard such ridiculous gossip? Lee Sa-young spread his hand and began to count zombie, honeybee. Immediately after, Lee Sa-young pointed to the honeybee poster stuck on the wall. "Well, why are you still waiting? Why don't you take that and sell it at Tomato Market?" Jay did not respond but thought to himself, I would like that too. But is this kid really throwing a tantrum? After a long back and forth, Lee Sa-young got to the main issue. So, after the weeks of thinking, you have an answer now, right? Jay replied, yeah, let's make the deal. But I have a few conditions. Lee Sa-young took out a blue stone from his spatial pouch, saying, both you and I are the type of people who want concrete evidence. Jay seemed puzzled. A magic stone recorder. Are you planning to record it? What if the recording leaks out? Lee Sa-young promised it would only be used for listening back and referencing when drafting the contract. Then it will be destroyed immediately. Jay watched, feeling pity. Something so expensive, and he's using it like a disposable recorder? Lee Sa-young started pressing the button, initiating the recording process for the negotiation. Jay got straight to the point. First of all, I don't work for you during the hours the alcohol recovery shop is open for business. Even if you ask or request anything, you will have to wait until the soup shop finishes its hours for selling the hangover soup. I only work for you from 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. Secondly, can you help me register to become a hunter? Lee Sa-young froze after hearing this. Didn't I tell you last time that I needed a hunter who is as little known as possible? Jay continued, I know. Just listen to me first. In reality, Jay had no intention of returning to being a hunter, but now the situation had changed. They had discovered his existence. In order to make things easier for the days ahead, he needed a completely new identity that had no connection to Jay. You suggested it to Lee Sa-young. You also know that hunters operate within different ranges depending on their rank, right? My condition is that you only need to help me get the lowest rank. Hunters of rank E or rank D are quite common, so people won't pay attention to me. My final condition is to heal that woman. That's it. There are no more conditions. Lee Sa-young immediately agreed. All right then. Now it's your turn. Immediately after, Lee Sa-young handed Jay a spike. This item is called a Cinnamon Man Spike, used to trade for an S-level contract. Once blood is spilled onto this sword, the contract will be impossible to break. Additionally, it has the power to curse anyone who breaks the contract. Lee Sa-young moved closer with an extremely provocative expression. Do you want to stab yourself, or should I do it for you? Jay, standing a full head shorter, looked up with a cold expression. Of course, I'll do it myself. Why should I let you stab me in the hand? Lee Sa-young laughed, sounding playful. Well, every now and then, there are people who like to stab themselves in strange places. Some even stab themselves in the thigh. While you were talking about stabbing the hand, Jay showed a grumpy expression, as if ready to give a lecture. There's no way I would teach you to break the contract, which was so hard to reach. Do you think I'm an idiot or something? Lee Sa-young raised the thorn, her youthful face slightly scrunched. You're really good at stabbing. It doesn't hurt at all. It's just like an ant bite. If it were me, I could go even gentler. You wouldn't feel a thing. Jay felt a dull ache in his head, shut his mouth, and stopped rambling. After pricking the palm of his hand with a thorn, Lee Sa-young handed Jay a small bottle. Drink this. The purple liquid, bubbling and steaming, was a specialized antidote. As soon as he held it, Jay showed a suspicious look, appearing somewhat doubtful. This is your specialized medicine, huh? Lee Sa-young took off her gloves and said, what if the contract ends and you end up dead? You should drink it now. Jay continued drinking like a normal person, but in reality, only he knew that if Lee Sa-young hadn't given him the antidote, he already had a natural resistance to poison. But anyway, he didn't really want to tell Lee Sa-young that for any reason. After everything was settled, Lee Sa-young scratched the palm of her hand with a thorn, then tightly gripped Jay's hand, face to face. I have one condition. You must never betray me. Immediately after the sweet words, a powerful light radiated out, and Jay's whole body was constricted by magical threads. System notification, special ability, Bacillus Toxin Level S, is being activated. After moments of sharp pain, Jay was stunned. Wait, this is the detoxification ability I acquired after catching the Bacillus monster. In the water crevice on the western sea of Muck, it won't react to mild toxins. Up until now, this ability has never truly been activated. Why is it like this now? After vomiting blood, my body felt dizzy, and that was when Jay staggered and almost fainted. Damn kid, shoving a bunch of poison into yourself. What are you yelling about? Lee Sa-young, quite panicked, rushed over to support Jay. And Gia kept calling out, Huang, Huang, wake up. Your head feels really hot right now. Where did this brat get the confidence to inject toxins into someone else's body like that, huh? Not to mention, did the antidote earlier actually do anything? an S-level detoxifying ability. And yet it's working so slowly. Is it really happening? After a long moment of contemplation, Jay glared, but in reality, couldn't see anything clearly. The system notification sounded. The detoxification process was underway, and the basilisk level S poison had been activated. In J's mind, complaints kept ringing out. Lee Sa-young, what would you do if I didn't have the special ability to detoxify? Just like that. Jay continued to vomit violently, leaving Lee Sa-young dumbfounded. Lee Sa-young quickly reached into his spatial pouch and searched for several detoxification pills. Huang, open your mouth, Father Huge. Immediately after, Jay had escaped the gates of death and was coughing uncontrollably. Lee Sa-young let out a sigh of relief. Huang, are you alright? The system notification appeared, indicating that the detoxification process had been completed. Thanks to the effectiveness of the basilisk level S+ toxin ability, you have achieved immunity to the toxin that has been purged in that moment of near death. Jay felt dazed. Not sure if it's thanks to the special detoxification ability or the potion that guy made me drink, but I recovered really quickly. I was already exhausted, yet Lee Sa-young didn't get the hint, constantly shaking me back and forth. Huang, can you see me? Can't you speak? If you can't speak, just blink your eyes. Jay grimaced, not because of fatigue, but because he was feeling extremely uncomfortable. If I could open my mouth, the first thing I'd do is curse. I'd insult that little bastard's entire family. Lee Sa-young glanced up and down. Jay lay motionless, only able to endure in silence. HMPH, really? I'm speechless when you combine all the information from what he said. It's clear that the poison is extremely potent, capable of damaging the eyesight, hearing, vocal cords, and even the internal organs. A level S hunter had to endure this much pain, and he dared to make someone who might be an ordinary person or a hunter drink it. Lee Sa-young no longer called Jay Huang, but addressed him by his real name. Jay glared, struggling in his mind. Should I just speak up and get it over with? Immediately after, Jay opened his eyes with a clear sense of wakefulness, only to find Lee Sa-young even more surprised than himself. Why does his expression look so panicked? I was planning to curse him out, but I guess I'll let it go. Normally, his face always looks so cocky, but today, it's strangely alluring. After sitting up, Jay wiped the drool that had been flowing since earlier, then acted nonchalant. I'm fine. There's no way my throat's damaged. But honestly, this is the first time I've ever experienced such a brutal poison. Does your kid have a conscience? Lee Sa-young pretended to make an innocent face. Then why aren't you talking? Are you messing with me? Jay smirked. I'm afraid that if I open my mouth, I'll just end up cursing you. So what? Got something to say? Lee Sa-young ruffled her hair in frustration. I give up. You're really getting on my nerves. Well, since they've given me this precious medicine, Jay reluctantly thanked them. Well, at least it's peaceful now. I don't know what you made me drink, but it must have been some expensive medicine, right? Lee Sa-young made a mocking face. You're thanking the person who poisoned you, huh? Truly a noble gentleman. Jay was frustrated. Even when he just said thanks, this kid had to go crazy again. Looking at his hand still glowing, it seemed the contract had been formed. Jay turned to Lee Sa-young and spoke. The contract has been signed. So now you can explain to me the matter you refused to tell me last time, right? After a deep sigh, Lee Sa-young began to address the issue. I'm tracking down those who are spreading my too. I had told you up to this point, right? In general, hunters are more sensitive than ordinary people in every aspect. But the most notable difference is that their senses are much more developed than those of regular humans. Therefore, they live a life full of dissatisfaction and have little joy. This type of plum blossom is sold at a very cheap price, and they can easily access it anywhere. The easier it is to obtain, the faster they sink deeper into addiction. Those who have become addicted will crave stronger stimuli. It's just like how they continue to drink alcohol, even though they know that no matter how much they drink, they will never truly get drunk. The hunters can only become intoxicated by drinking a special wine made specifically for them. Over time, the amount of Mai Tai they absorb will gradually increase until they begin to feel that what they've consumed is no longer enough. At that point, they will directly seek out suppliers. Those who are addicted to that extent are almost always either already transformed or on the verge of transformation. The suppliers will send those who willingly walk into this trap on their way. Mai Tu is merely a scent used to lure those considered experimental subjects. As she spoke, Lee Sa-young reached out and pulled Jay up, looking very affectionate. He also looked directly into Lee Sa-young's eyes and asked a small question. Do they want to find a way to awaken? Isn't it the case that the awakening of abilities is chosen by the system? Lee Sa-young replied, that's true. But guess what the system bases its selection on to determine who will awaken? The system will respond to a fervent wish, meaning they are conducting experiments to create artificially awakened individuals. You also know that usually, the system will be attracted to and seek out those with extremely strong desires, right? A desire to live, a desire not to bid farewell to this world. The wish for oneself not to die is also a form of desire, but in reality, there are also those who carry deep regret with the choices made by that system. Do you understand what I'm saying? The system is an ultimate and powerful force. Most people will live according to its will, but those who feel that the system's choices are unjust think differently. The organization you mentioned earlier consists of those who believe that the power of humanity must be awakened by humanity itself. Jay asked further. Let's assume they create artificially awakened individuals. Then what happens next? I don't remember. I think they said something about needing to prevent the apocalypse or something like that. Jay was confused, not understanding anything about the apocalypse. But Lee Sa-young was the same when she heard about it. Lee Sa-young felt uncomfortable and didn't listen any further. Countless people believed that once the water crack appeared, the apocalypse would follow immediately after. That was something that happened 11 years ago. In today's world, people can predict when and where the gate will open. Yet there are still those who believe the apocalypse will come one day. Jay kept thinking aimlessly like that, with thousands of questions in his mind. After a while of explaining, Lee Sa-young concluded, to sum it up, right now I don't have anything that requires your help. We'll start by registering you as a hunter first. Tomorrow, I'll send someone here. Jay still had one more thing to say. The poison from that brat is still scattered on the floor. You can leave once you've cleaned it up, and my blood too. The next morning, it was still the usual task of cooking the hangover soup. Standing in front of the 2 pots that were bubbling away, suddenly someone called from outside the door. As soon as he stepped outside, the young man greeted him first. Hello, nice to meet you. Is this the first time we've met? May I ask if you are Yui Jay's father? Yes, that's me. Captain Lee Sa-young sent me here. People often call me the small miracle who gets by without doing anything. Huh? Jay politely invited the young man in. As soon as he entered, he sat down and began rummaging around. Today, I will be the one to take you through the entire registration process and strength assessment. Please wait a moment. He pulled out a board and then began teaching Jay a course titled Strategies for Earning the Lowest Rank. While Jay was still dazed, not understanding what the board was, the young man continued speaking. You need to minimize drawing attention as much as possible. I've heard that your goal is to receive a low rank only, to develop a more accurate strategy. Please complete this survey. The survey contained a series of questions. The content within was as follows. Question 1. When registering as a hunter, which rank would you like to receive? Please write the desired rank in the box below, with ranks ranging from S to F. Question 2. What is your rank according to the system's ranking? If you prefer not to disclose your rank, please fill it in according to the example below. Question 3. Do you agree to use drugs or talismans to falsify your rank? Not knowing what noun to use to address the young man, Jay reluctantly chose. Hey, Jay, you little miracle worker, getting food without even doing anything. The third sentence seems a bit awkward. The Han person listened, but in his mind, if he wanted to hide his abilities, he would have to accept that. This is obviously the content. D was feeling conflicted inside. Obviously. What exactly is obvious? Is this kid a fraud or not? He continued hesitantly explaining to D. First, when you come to measure your strength, the first thing you need to do is fill out the form by hand. After that, they will measure your strength using a device created by the Bureau of Manufacturing. During the process of measuring strength, they will ask you to demonstrate which skill is your strongest for them to see, young miss. For handwritten characters, just write a little sloppily. That's enough. As for the strongest skill, you can just randomly choose one to show them. The most important issue here is the measuring device. The device gives extremely accurate results, so it's easy to deceive the clerks there. It's really hard to fool that machine. However, the device uses magic stones as its energy source, so it won't react to ordinary people, only to those who are awakened. This means that we will follow the system's principles exactly, but we'll also apply a bit of special scientific knowledge. So we will be able to use the system's principles to deceive the measuring device. That's why you have to use medicine or talismans to lower your rank. Hearing this, Ji seemed convinced. After understanding, he no longer hesitated and immediately filled out the survey. The desired rank was E or D. The current rank, according to the system, was strong. Agreed to use talismans or medicine to fake the rank. After everything was settled, the boy who didn't do anything but still got paid cheered. "All right, let's go. My car is already moving right outside." Ji wondered how long it would take to complete the registration. The little miracle who didn't do anything but still got paid hesitated to answer. Even if it takes a long time, it will only be about an hour, no more. After checking the time, Ji decided to set the stove to low heat and would turn it off later when returning. After all, the bone broth needs to simmer for a long time for the flavor to be rich. If we get back on time, there will be no issues with the shop. Both of them had just gotten in the car. A small miracle of continuously eating without doing anything. We won't go to the official registration center of the Awakener administration. We'll head to the temporary registration center located in Wangjin district. They work faster there, and since it's less noticed by others, there are also fewer powerful hunters. Ji had some reservations. That place was only recently established, right? If so, it might attract more attention. No, brother, the center in that district has only been established for about 3 months, so they're not paying much attention. Some buildings are still only planned and haven't been completed yet. The older brother replied, "Have you seen the black box in front? Inside, there's a pair of bracelets. Try wearing them and see. That's the binding chain of your Oberos, rank A. Once you wear these bands, a spell will be cast to reduce your strength. If you want to lower your rank, the quickest and most convenient way is to use an item that has been enchanted." D expressed surprise. Using this to fake a rank reduction won't be discovered. I think if they see you wearing the item, they'll catch on immediately. A small miracle. Achieved without any effort yet still rewarded. Reply with firm confidence, "It'll be fine." The procedure for checking the items carried by individuals is only applied to those who are already hunters and have come to register. As for those who have just awakened and are here to measure their strength, they aren't checked. Those who haven't registered as hunters wouldn't have any items to carry in the first place. Moreover, those who haven't registered aren't even allowed to use the hunter market. Besides, who wouldn't want to achieve a high rank? No one wants to receive a low rank, after all. After the incredibly reasonable explanations, Ji no longer hesitated and immediately wore it. A small miracle that you didn't do anything but still benefited. They continued, "Of course. I'm not talking about your case. In short, that's how it is. It should be enough to lower your rank, right? If that's not enough, then you need to take more detoxifying medicine to reduce your strength." After Ji tried to force it, they felt their body become heavier, but it still wasn't enough. The small miracle of not doing anything but still having something to eat had predicted that this situation would occur, so preparations for drinks had already been made. Tenten, the rank 8 poison reduces strength. This is a masterpiece that the poison-making team of the Pardo team spent a full day. In night creating, the team leader promised to pay a 300% bonus, so everyone is full of enthusiasm to work overtime. Hearing this, Ji couldn't help but feel a pang, thinking it was such a waste of money. But since it's not your money, maybe you should think about it a little less. After drinking, the little miracle that didn't require any effort still had food, then turned to smile excitedly. Her, what do you think? It must have worked, right? I'll give you the antidote right away." But after drinking several bottles, Ji still didn't notice anything unusual. With a calm face, "Does this medicine take a while to take effect after taking it? Or what?" The small miracle of not doing anything yet still being shocked when seeing Ji completely unaffected. Heavens, what's going on here? According to the research results, as soon as you take the medicine, its effects should appear immediately. During the experiment, the research staff drank only 1 bottle and were already out of it, and they dropped all the ranks to the point where the system had to issue a warning. They were so afraid that once their power decreased, they wouldn't be able to recover it, so they were trembling almost to death. The young man kept muttering and jumping around, while the more he listened, the stranger it felt. Could it be that this is just a trial version? Ji had finished his 3rd bottle, not a single drop left, and felt a bit uneasy. "Are you a miracle worker? Has this kind of poison that weakens strength been approved by the system yet? Huh? What are you asking? Yes, our captain drank it too. Even if he drank some kind of poison, it wouldn't have any effect. Could it be that you already have poison in your body? I haven't heard anything about that. The captain repeatedly reminded us that you're very susceptible to poison, so you need to be extra careful about your condition. Hearing this, G also knew it was useless. So is there any other way to reduce the rank? A small miracle that was achieved without any effort. And yet there's still something to be gained from the suggestion. Now, I'll go to the hunter market and buy all the talismans that reduce power. Living in this world, I should at least get one chance to spend money without any restraint. What's more, it's someone else's card. G immediately protested passionately upon hearing this. The small miracle of eating without doing anything seemed disheartened. Sure enough, you'll oppose it because it would immediately spread rumors, right? Or should we go back and only carry out the plan when we've thought of another strategy? I have a scheduled business trip abroad, so it'll probably be about 3 weeks. G immediately showed an expression of displeasure. Can this brat really say such things? Seeing G complain, Hunter sat up straight. I'm sorry. This center will officially operate when the buildings you see here finish their construction, and the containers over there are completed. Maybe by the time I return from my business trip, it will be ready, G sighed. So to sum it up, if you want to seize the opportunity. But before they had a chance to notice this place, it had to be registered today. Upon arriving with a face that was far from cheerful, G stepped in. And as soon as the door opened, someone was there to greet him. Hello, sir. How can I assist you today? I'm here to register as a hunter. The staff member, eager to help, immediately began assisting. Please present your ID and fill in your phone number here, sir. Once you're done, just wait for me for a moment, while Jay was scribbling on the piece of paper. G still couldn't understand why he ultimately decided to go in. I don't know what the final projection he mentioned is, but well, there's no other way. Fortunately, as he had said, all the staff here were just ordinary people. After submitting the documents, the staff continued, Congratulations. You have awakened your abilities. How long have you been awake now? Please come over here to check. G is very enthusiastic and cooperative in chatting. I've been awake for 3 days. Who would have known? That you awakened 11 years ago? Please fill out the additional information here and specify clearly the skill you will perform, so the machine can measure your strength. You don't need to list all your skills, just one is fine. Which one is the easiest to assess visually? G opened the status bar to check. Currently reviewing information about UEJ. The amount of information is vast. Switching to summary mode. Hunter name, G, gender, male, rank A, currently being reduced due to the use of a talisman. Attributes, S+ level 3 Silk's poison, S+ level physical reinforcement, B rank poker face. Special attributes, S level skilled craftsman hand, S+ level universal detection. Skills, S+ level tracker's eye, S level heart piercing, S level silent footsteps. G began to think about which skill would be the most appropriate to use. I need to choose a skill that won't attract too much attention and can be easily concealed. Most of them were skills that G had used before, so he didn't want to let them see. If it were discovered that he had these skills, he would be caught red-handed immediately. After a moment of hesitation, he decided to take a gamble. First, he would endure the blows, and then he would J here. His skill was a sturdy body. The lines GJ in the report were as follows. My body is quite tough, probably rank D. It can enhance the body to a solid level. When the female employee held it and started reading, it made her itch. The tough body, right? This ability is roughly to enhance defensive strength. It's a skill in the defensive system. G switched to playing dumb. Probably. I'm not sure either. Finally, the young man was brought into the testing room. Now, let's begin the test. You just need to take the hit while your ability is activated. If you are someone who has awakened at rank D, you may still be slightly affected by the external force. Is that all right? D took long strides as if wanting to get this over with. Yes, I'm carefree. As soon as he entered, D cracked his joints as if they were real. He looked quite awkward, but for some reason, the female staff outside were impressed. This calm demeanor is truly admirable. Own is very rare now, so no matter what, he will be placed in a mid-sized or small team. The female staff member continued, if you feel too much pain while enduring the hits, make sure to tell me. I will give you some recovery medicine. D seemed to be ready. You thought to yourself, if you use your skill, you wouldn't suffer any damage from external forces. But you still had to pretend it hurt like hell. The robot started to raise its staff and strike. The moment the staff made contact with D's shoulder, it shattered into pieces. D was stunned. The staff's remnants were left in the hands of the female employee. Wait a minute, I thought it would be more intense than this. Why does it feel so light? Well, since it's come to this, I guess I have to transform into a Hollywood actor. D kept crying out in pain, holding his shoulder with one hand. Oh my God, why does it hurt so much? It really hurts, you know? He thought to himself, well, it can't be helped at this point. Just go with the flow. They aren't checking the quality of the equipment or anything. These government employees really don't know how to do business properly. The female staff member started looking at him with a confused expression. Is the skill you're using really rank D? At this point, the cat dares to look straight into someone's eyes. D was afraid that they wouldn't pass the test but still tried to respond. Yes. Is it really a rank D skill? The staff seemed confused. How could a sword made of such hardwood break like that? D still had his arm around my shoulder, whispering, I, Jay, have strengthened my body, but honestly, I'm not sure how far it can really enhance me or to what extent, but I have to compensate, right? The employee was startled. Hub, no, not at all. Immediately, deactivated his rank B skill, Muscle Mania, to manipulate the employee's mind. Is this very expensive? Immediately, the female staff member broke into a sweat, berating herself. How did this happen? I just accidentally said something to someone who has only recently awakened. He is only just awakened, so he is extremely, very, and particularly sensitive right now. People who have just awakened need to adjust to their sudden transformation, so they become highly sensitive. Some people even stay awake for 72 hours straight without being able to sleep. You must treat them with the utmost delicacy, softly and gently, as if you're facing a time bomb. Just a small movement could cause a huge problem. That's why it's essential to be extremely gentle. Thinking of this, the female staff member immediately changed her attitude. It's okay. These puppets are quite old by now. When we move to the headquarters, we also plan to switch to a new one. Jay had a bright gleam in their eyes. Really? Yes, don't worry too much. First, the skill demonstration is already finished. Let's move on to the strength measurement. Although the face appeared calm, the heart was raging with turmoil. Jay just avoided the melon rind but encountered the coconut shell. Another calamity was upon him. Immediately, he was led to a measuring device. Please take off your shoes and stand here. On the screen, the machine would display his strength value and rank according to the system's assessment. Sir, all you need to do is stand up. It's easy, right? Jay is feeling restless and anxious. The problem is, it's too easy. I've used the bracelet to lower my rank, but it only went down to rank A even so. It's still too much of a gap compared to rank D. I'm worried the machine will pick it up. First, let's measure it. If the result is higher than rank D, then I can just smash the machine. If that's the case, I'll need to distract the staff member or get them to leave the room. Jay decided to speak up with a question. HMM, may I ask? Immediately after, a scene unfolded that could not have been more genuine. He was wobbling as he spoke. My shoulder, the one that took the hit earlier, is really hurting. Could I have some recovery medicine? The female staff member appeared flustered and panicked. The medicine is currently in the warehouse, so I have to go get it. Please wait for me for a moment. Jay must seize the opportunity right away. Okay, while waiting, I'll stand by the measuring machine. Anyway, the results will come from the machine. The staff didn't think twice and quickly ran off. You just do that. I'll be back quickly when the machine rings. You can step down and check the results. As expected, after making the decision, the machine produced the following result, number 93. Chowie D reached rank AJ in my stomach. I knew it. This damn machine. Now that it's like this, all that's left is to find a way to destroy the evidence. I'll just apply a little bit of force. That should be enough, right? Before I could do anything. Jay froze in place. At that moment, the female staff member flung the door open, hurriedly running in. Hunter, are you all right? Jay immediately ran out to stop her with a panicked expression. Right behind the female staff member was a crack. On the other hand, the small miracle, which required no effort but still reaped rewards, was sitting in the car, enjoying a delicious milk tea, while the report was also finished. Do you know if Brother Yi has successfully received the rank D certificate yet, Jika? Even if he didn't receive rank D, it's no big deal, Captain. Seo Minji, this little miracle, will perfectly forge the documents without a trace, while still relaxing. The ground suddenly trembled violently. Seo Minji furrowed his brows, his face pale. What happened? Could it be? Outside, many supporters were running at full speed, shouting, "Quick! Transfer D!" The registration center under the Gyeonggi district had encountered a level 5 water crack and had already contacted the management office. Seo Minji held his head in shock. "Are you messing with me?" This young man had just sent a report to team leader Lee Sa-young not long ago. In the blink of an eye, D had arrived in another space. At first, he rushed into the water crevice too quickly, causing dizziness and nausea. Only now could he stabilize himself. Looking around at a group of young people, he briefly assessed the situation. It seemed that the crevice wasn't that dangerous after all. Whether it was luck or misfortune, all the people sucked into the crevice had scattered. So he couldn't see anyone. He needed to conceal his identity, so he couldn't step in to save others. However, he could help by reducing the number of monsters in the crevice. Only by dealing with the owner of the water crack can the crack disappear. The rescue team should be arriving soon. But what should we do about the shop's business tonight? All electronic devices don't work inside the crack, so I can't check what time it is right now. I don't even know if the shop is on fire. Just thinking about it is enough to make me dizzy. The problem is, I don't know how long it will take for the rescue team to arrive. The rescue team will consist of hunters from the Waterway Management Division and hunters from the Awakener Management Bureau. In addition, there will be hunters from teams that receive the emergency request, forming a combination of many hunters. Also, the Hangover Soup Shop is a familiar place that hunters frequently visit. That would be quite awkward. They will recognize me right away, no matter how much I tried to hide. The fact that I went to the center to register and was unfortunately sucked into the water crevice will eventually be discovered by them. Damn it. Could this be my unlucky year? Now that it has come to this, I must take advantage of the fact that the rescue team is busy helping the survivors. Activate the searcher's eye. I want to eliminate the owner of the water crevice and escape to return to the shop as quickly as possible. Just as an elderly woman, who had just awakened, was preparing to enter the water gorge, a young man rushed over to deliver a message. Immortal Lord, has Captain Lee Sa-young of the Pato team arrived to handle the gorge? The woman appeared very shocked. What? That's impossible. At that moment, Lee Sa-young also entered with a radiant demeanor. Are you all here to pay respects or something? Why are you gathered in front of the gorge entrance like this? Such harmony. The woman, still stunned, could hardly believe her eyes. It really was Lee Sa-young. He never responded to any support requests, did he? She had to ask again. Are you really here to help? Lee Sa-young nodded calmly. What else would I be doing? Why aren't you inside yet? Yes? The support team under the management of the Awakened is on their way here. I was planning to wait for them and go in together afterward. Lee Sa-young seemed indifferent and continued walking inside, not caring. You all focus on finding the survivors. Then Nan, standing next to the awakened woman, jumped around in panic. What should we do, senior? What do you mean? What should we do? What else is there to do? Lee Sa-young will handle the master of the ravine herself. We don't need to worry about that anymore. Just focus on finding and rescuing the survivors. Prepare more gas masks than there are people on the team. Bring all the antidotes and items with detoxifying properties. If you don't want to die from Lee Sa-young's poison, then hurry up. In another development, Jay was still leisurely walking under a sky full of flowers. Here it is. The master of the waterway is inside this. If fire could be used, that would be great, but I don't have a lighter right now, so I'll just punch it and it should break open eventually. With that, Jay used force and punched with a loud thud, creating a hole right in the tree trunk. The system notifies you that you have entered the Garden of Life, the home of the owner of the creek, as Jay stepped in. The deer lion curled up immediately opened its eyes, and the surrounding leaves rustled. The purple flowers simultaneously transformed into monsters, heading towards G. As soon as he activated his power, Jay was startled. Wait, why is the power weaker? Am I being suppressed by some kind of restriction? Oh right, I'm currently in a weakened state. I don't dare remove this bracelet recklessly. What should I do? If I can't use strength, then I'll have to use the artifact. You took out a basilisk fang from your personal inventory. An S-rank item, a sword forged by a skilled blacksmith using the fang of a basilisk. With just one sip, the sword will begin to spread poison into the user's body. Out of nowhere, the pitch-black sword made Jay feel dazed, just when the monster was charging toward him in a frenzy. He had no choice but to twist his body to dodge the attack, all the while cursing at the sword. Hey, are you crazy? Don't you remember me? At that moment, The basilisk's fangs seemed to enter a state of contemplation, and finally, it spoke. Those unworthy of it shall not be allowed to wield it. Not even the sword's domain will respond. After checking the compatibility level, the warning system of Jay did not respond. I will not obey the orders of anyone weaker than me, Jay helplessly grumbled. Hey, are you challenging me? Even if I were ranker right now, I would still be your master. And you wouldn't even recognize it. The system announced that the S-level basilisk's poisonous trait had been activated. The sword continued to emit poison into his body, but then the toxin was immediately neutralized. The basilisk's fang remained in a state of contemplation. Hey, big brother Poison, why are you here? The reason it asked such a cryptic question was that the sword was made from the basilisk's fang, so it regarded the basilisk's venom as its big brother. Jay was really pissed off at this moment. Really, you can't recognize the master, but you recognize our brother so quickly, huh? There's not much time left, the master of the ravine screamed, and a series of vines shot straight toward Ji. With a speed honed by practice, he avoided them all, then counterattacked with the basilisk sword. You are in a weakened state, so you're not sure if you'll suffer from the effects of that wind from the leaves, are you? Jay glanced over. It's fine if I'm injured, but if I bleed, it will cause trouble and spread to the shop's wine remedy. The basilisk sword threatened. The one who threw my body away. I won't let that go. At this moment, Jay was extremely disappointed and frustrated. The weapon that even its master can't recognize, what's the use of it, right? There's no other choice. Jay shouted provocatively at the master of the stream. Hey, you fool. With that, Jay grabbed the sword, ignoring his own words, and charged forward. He had no other choice but to settle this quickly to avoid getting hurt. As he was about to strike, someone from behind covered his head and grabbed him. Lee Sa-young had entered here since when, with one hand holding a mouth whispering into his ear. Turns out, you're not as simple as I thought, huh, Hyung? With just one hand to counterattack, Lee Sa-young was able to decisively defeat the master of the thin water crack. Lee Sa-young reluctantly asked Ji, where did you get the confidence to face the master of the water crack like that? He is still under the effect of the spell that weakens his strength. At that moment, a young man approached, appearing contemplative while admiring. I told you, he doesn't know what fear is, just as expected from the team leader. One move and it's all done. Lee Sa-young extended her hand. Hey, bring that over here. There's still the mask, right? Hand it over here, hurry up, and the gloves too. After taking the gas mask, Lee Sa-young looked into J's eyes as if sending her feelings. This is a gas mask. Once you let go, I'll put it on right away. After putting it on, Lee Sa-young continuously patted Jay and reassured her gently. Surely you must have been quite panicked, right? He slowly took a deep breath. Jay still looked confused. Why are you here? Lee Sa-young answered gently. What's wrong? Did you think I wouldn't come? Jay replied coldly. You have no reason to be here. Lee Sa-young sighed. Hai-young, you're really strange, not trusting anyone like that. Jay continued to grumble. Stop being sarcastic. Anyway, why did you come here? I came to take you out, Hai-young. But you're crazy. I didn't expect to walk in and see you fighting with the owner of that cursed door. Jay frowned, feeling a bit regretful. Damn it. If I had known this, even if it meant fighting until my clothes were torn, I should have dealt with it and escaped earlier. Seo Minji hurriedly ran over to remind him. Captain, it's good that you care about our esteemed guest. But there is something you need to consider first. Since the team leader used poison to make the owner of the water shrine vanish, it's possible that the magic stone of the water shrine, which the owner held, also disappeared along with it. At that moment, a loud noise echoed. Seeing Ji's confused expression, Seo Minji pointed upwards again. Bro, you still don't get this part. Let me explain. What is the magic stone of the water appreciation? The master of the water appreciation will keep the magic stone at its center. If the stone is destroyed, then the water appreciation will disappear. It's not really something dangerous. It's not just that. If the water appreciation disappears, then all those who were drawn into it, from the living to even those who are no longer alive, will appear with a terrifying semblance. They will all be returned to the place that was once the entrance of the River of Praise, in order to minimize the shock caused by the terrifying images. It is common for people to make the River of Praise disappear right after saving the survivors. At this moment, Jay began to think to himself, at times like this, it's best to avoid encountering the rescue team. While Jay was still hesitating, closing his eyes to analyze, Lee Sa-young appeared worried. The situation was beyond her expectations. So what should she do now? Jae turned his head back, giving a playful, reproachful look. What else? What else is there? If you get caught erasing the praise for the water without waiting for the rescue team to finish searching for the survivors, you're done for. Well then, you should memorize what I'm about to say. I'll coordinate the testimony with you. On another front, the praise for the water was still pushing everyone inside out. The female hunter, who had previously met Lee Sa-young, was visibly upset, muttering curses under her breath. Lee Sa-young, that damn head, the rescue mission isn't even completed yet, and you're erasing the praise of the water. What's the meaning of that? At that moment, a hand was extended. You've worked hard, Ms. Yong Hai-jan. Are you all right? I'm a little dizzy, but I'm fine. Where is Captain Lee Sa-young right now? He's on the other side. But if you're planning to confront him, Yong Hai-jan stared in disbelief. Why are you saying that? Well, I've been interrogating for a long time, but he had his own very reasonable reason for erasing the praise. Miss Yong Hai-jan often goes to the alcohol detox shop in the alley, doesn't she? Yong Hai-jan is tall. What does that have to do with Captain Lee Sa-young? Jong Bin shrugged and replied. The part-time worker there just awakened their abilities, so they went to the registration center. Perhaps that's why he got caught up in this matter. Yong Hai-jan was surprised and startled. What do you mean? Just the preparations for the liquor detoxification at the shop are already so busy. Yet he's still involved in this. Yes, according to Captain Lee Sa-young. The owner of the rift this time has the power to draw on those who have awakened their abilities. Originally, Captain Lee Sa-young had only planned to stay near the rift's owner, stalling until the rescue operation was completed. But when the captain arrived, he immediately encountered the scene of the shop assistant, who had been hypnotized, walking towards the master of the waterway. Yong Hai-jan, although angry, could only hold back her frustration because the reason was too reasonable. I originally didn't plan to let him off easily, but if he did this to save someone, how could I say anything? Yong Bin smiled wryly. That's true, but each matter must be treated separately. He will still have to pay the fine. Yong Hai-jan broke out in a cold sweat. It sounds simple, but can we actually collect the fine? Well, I did try to strike up a conversation, but Captain Lee Sa-young kept staring at me as if she were about to take my life. So I had to run off in a hurry. In another turn of events, after escaping through the water crack, Jae was sitting behind the car, leaning against Lee Sa-young. At this point, all that was left was to act deep and pretend to be weak. Jae whispered into Lee Sa-young's ear, asking, have they let it go? Lee Sa-young also wanted to show off at this moment. Yes, if I were to make a move, the rice would be ground into flour. You said that while saving someone, things ended up like that, so they couldn't say anything. But since you're a hunter, you'll still have to pay a small fine. Jae glanced briefly and then whispered. The registration and the concealment of true strength have gone smoothly. But can Seo Minji actually fix my rank? In her confusion, Lee Sa-young could only give a vague response. Well, if he can't even do that, then he doesn't deserve to get paid. He'll have to take care of fixing the strength measurement data before it's sent to the data center of the Bureau of Awakening Management, while still acting the part. Jae didn't dare to look directly, but still wanted to ask. Well, Lee Sa-young, it seems like he's not planning to leave here anytime soon. Lee Sa-young also appeared helpless. He might even stay here until early tomorrow morning. This matter is more serious than you think, but more importantly, are you sick? Jae was startled upon hearing this, or rather, shuddered at the corny nature of it. Lee Sa-young still showed concern. I see you're sweating cold. Jae smiled a little. If you let go of my hand, I'll be fine right away. But Lee Sa-young still clung to Jae like that. Hai-young, do you know you look like a madman? What are you criticizing me for now? I think you're really good at lying. Leave me alone. People in the service industry have to lie to survive. Don't try to dig any deeper. Knowing too much isn't always good. Lee Sa-young paused after hearing that. He was really suspicious. Hai-young, say something. Jae had to respond with a sentence. So what if it's suspicious? You've already signed the contract with me anyway. Lee Sa-young acted more affectionate, even hugging tighter. That's true. Huh? Why did I sign the contract, Young? Say something. Jae had to respond with a sentence. So what if it's suspicious? You've already signed the contract with me anyway. Lee Sa-young acted more affectionate, even hugging tighter. That's true. Huh? Why did I sign the contract with you again? Someone was doubting like this. Jae suddenly sensed a sweet fragrance wafting in. In the midst of the heavy rain, the young man suddenly woke up with a start, his mouth. The broth that cures hangovers. Fortunately, after that, everything went smoothly. Part of it was also due to many other events that took place. Lee Sa-young had once been given a one-time use piece of equipment by Yeseong Hong. Thanks to that, Jay immediately returned to the soup shop. Both the pot of soup and the shop were still perfectly fine, not burnt, so the shop could remain open. Young people at this age are hustling like crazy to hit KPIs. With less than 20 minutes left until opening time, Jay was chopping the onions at lightning speed. The notification system congratulates you. You have discovered a new power. Combat ability adapted to your living environment at S rank. You thought that all you had to do now was wait for the small fake signature you signed to finalize the ranking of your abilities. After being extremely busy for several days, Jay finally had time to open the door wide for some fresh air. At that moment, a postal worker arrived and asked, "Are you Yui Jay's father?" Jay was still confused and hadn't had the chance to respond when they pulled out a series of welcome wreaths, all aimed at flattering him. Before he could even recover, a crowd appeared behind him, holding flowers in their hands, passing them around, their eyes shining brightly. "Hey, the part-time worker, we heard you've awakened your abilities. Hey, staff member, why didn't you tell us?" They crowded around him, their words coming fast, leaving Jay feeling suffocated. "Wow, is that a flower wreath sent by Honeybee?" Captain Han has been keeping an eye on her for quite a while, and without wasting any time, he sent her a bouquet of flowers right away, really quick on the draw. "Congratulations to the employee. What rank did you get?" This little employee was already pretty impressive even before awakening. "Probably around rank B, right? Are you planning to quit working at the Hangover Soup Shop?" After that group of people caused a ruckus, Jay put up a big, clear sign outside the shop. The liquor detox shop does not close. No flower wasting, gifts, or banners are allowed. It is strictly forbidden to inquire about the rank or position of part-time employees. It is strictly forbidden to tempt part-time employees to join your team. Singing recruitment is strictly prohibited. Any violation of the above rules will result in an immediate ban from the shop. You are not allowed to go to the liquor clearing shop anymore. Jay was completely collapsed, his whole body aching. I thought that after the explosion at the crack in the registration center, the information that the awakened ones had registered would be fully exposed. Luckily, they didn't find out my rank. First, there were honeybees, then there were purple swarms and even battery packs. They stuck to me like leeches, leaving me no time to react. I told them not to give me anything, but they still secretly left them behind. These people are so annoying, and on top of that, there's a pile of trash from the aftermath. As soon as I stepped out, Jay saw a figure who seemed sluggish, not sure who they were talking to. Jay glanced around, looking very puzzled. "Are you a journalist? Or maybe another hunter trying to sneak a gift to me again?" But it didn't seem like it. Who could it be at that moment? The girl turned her head, glanced over, and was startled. Quickly covering her head, Jay still had no idea what was going on. "She looks like a student. What is she doing here?" He kindly approached and asked, "Student, are you okay? You're a student. Why are you coming to a hangover relief shop at this hour?" The girl was sweating, crawling on the ground, stammering. In the end, Jay invited the girl to sit inside the shop and properly served her tea. "Thank you, and I'm sorry for coming here so suddenly. It's no problem. But why did you come to a detox soup shop at this hour? You should be at home by now, shouldn't you? Is there something you need help with?" The girl appeared frightened, tightly closing her eyes. "The thing is, I know that your father, Yui J, is G." After hearing that, Jay's heart seemed to fall out, deep within the shock and disbelief in his eyes. Jay still tried to act cool. "Jay, why did you suddenly say that?" The girl spoke with a very confident tone. "You don't have to hide that from me. A bit late, but allow me to introduce myself. My name is Yoon Ga-yoon, and I'm currently in the 12th grade at Sabum Girls High School. Not long ago, I awakened an S-level power in the mental system." At this moment, Jay suddenly remembered. It seemed that this girl was the one Jongbin and Sa-Ian had mentioned, the one who had awakened the power. Yoon Ga-yoon continued explaining, "My ability is to see the fragments of the world. Jay, if I told you that there's another world beyond this one, would you believe me? Every time I fall asleep, I catch glimpses of fragments falling from another world. It doesn't depend on my will, and that place is both similar and different from the world we live in now. There are people who have the same names, the same faces as those here. but they are like completely different individuals. If you look closely enough, you will see that that world is chaotic and disordered, just like this small fragment. Jay, I am truly terrified to say that this world will eventually meet its doom, Jay sighed. Trying to comfort himself, he could hardly bring himself to believe what I was saying. Young lowered her head. Yes, I know you won't believe it. You might think I'm just a mad woman. The fragments I saw in my dreams are remnants that fell from worlds that had perished before. When the apocalypse can no longer be contained, that world shatters, and its fragments fly here. I know that the reason Jay is hiding his true identity is because he has his own reasons. I had planned not to come looking for you, but I asked permission to get straight to the point. I want you to help me prevent the apocalypse from happening. I don't want to remain indifferent knowing that the apocalypse is coming. If I do nothing, I will lose the things I hold dear. Please, come with me and see the fragments I have seen. I beg you. After hearing these sincere words, Jay decided to shut his eyes tightly and began to sense. Truly, what he saw was a scene of desolation, gloom, and coldness. He looked up at the sky and paused. Here, this place looks like the waterway on the Western Sea where I searched every corner for 8 years. Your body began to feel nauseous and dizzy. This was the appearance of a world that had perished, sucked into the water gap in the Western Sea afterward. Suddenly, Jay heard the rustling sound from afar. The girl was holding a book in her hand, her face smeared with dirt. This was Yoon. It looks like the girl has grown up, around 20 years old. Yoon suddenly jerked awake when she saw the person standing in front of her, holding the monster-slaying sword. Yoon, what are you doing over there? The stop was supposed to be on the other side. Jay was even more surprised upon realizing that it was actually her. Jay's table then ran toward Yoon. I'm a bit worried about the honeybee. Yoon of this world hesitated. I'm sorry. I just meant to take another look around, but I ended up here. Is this place near your school? Yoon hesitated before responding. Yes, that's right. Jay of this world looked around and said, how about we take a quick look? Let's go. If any monsters show up, I'll take care of them. We might even find someone else still alive. The real version of Jay heard these words and could only nod in agreement to himself. That's right, acting like that is reasonable. Jay from the desolate world raised his hand and made a sweeping motion. You have to keep this a secret from you, okay? If he finds out, he'll beg for it. Just watch. At that moment, loud booming sounds erupted. The context seems to have changed. Hey, clear this place up. Is there any left in front of the carpet? It seems like this place is the FARS checkpoint, or what's also known as the rescue checkpoint. Jay's desk is talking to someone else, indeed. The medicine is lacking in potency. It seems we'll have to take a trip to the hospital in Kiyun province. Jay, does that sound all right to you? We have to go. What else can we do? At that moment, Sha-Yoon suddenly appeared out of nowhere, tightly hugging Jay in that other world, causing the doctor to break into a cold sweat. Even Jay cast a glance back with great affection. Sha-Yoon, you're here so early? Is the gate of the Starry Night line ready? Jay stared straight at the doctor, his gaze a clear warning. The doctor, seeing this, quickly made his exit to give the two of them some private time. Sha-Yoon stubbornly wanted to send someone else, but Jay was determined. Don't be like that. In terms of effectiveness, it's still best if I go. Sha-Yoon continuously nuzzled against Jay's cheek, acting very clingy. Hi-Yoon, don't say nonsense like that. Jay simply continued to pat his head affectionately. Witnessing the sight of himself collapsing and getting drenched made the Jay of the real world want to vomit just by watching. Is this some kind of ridiculous dream? What the hell is a shattered world fragment? According to Yoon, the small fragments of a destroyed world become chaotic and disordered. But even so, the appearance of Jay and Sha-Yoon in this shattered world fragment is way too intertwined, aren't they? I was still wondering whether I should continue watching the scene of their affection, when it suddenly passed by. The space I saw within the fragments of the world was made up of very familiar places. White dust fell like snow. Buildings collapsed, covered in dust and smoke. This entire space was nothing but ruins, and everywhere there were gates that had been opened. From within, countless monsters I had never seen before crawled out. It's so similar to the scene inside the water gap of the Western Sea, where I wandered and got lost for 8 years. Suddenly, sharp screeching sounds appeared, causing Jay to feel a headache and cover his ears. Another scene appeared before him. I will stop them here. Everyone, hurry and run. Yoon was collapsing, looking very worried. Wait a minute, how can Jay possibly stop so many monsters by himself? Jay of this world patted Young's head reassuringly. If you run away, those monsters will rush towards the forest station. How could everyone possibly hold them off? Don't worry, I'll be fine. I'll take care of it quickly and come back. Trust me, when I give the signal, you need to run as fast as you can. Don't look back. Oh, and one more thing, you must keep this a secret from Xiaoyang. The fragment that Jay saw ends here. Jay stood frozen, thinking. Judging by the situation, it seemed like no. Jay couldn't go back to the base anymore. Behind, other sounds continued to emerge. It was the sound of debris falling. Jay spread his hand, looking into the fragments. From there came the following sounds. Hey, do you think you're the only one who knows how to feel sad? Don't behave like that. You're the only one losing in the world. Honeybee, calm down. I'm not silent. Do you know how much the fighting force would be weakened just by losing you? Are those who risk their lives to trade them away all fools? The living must continue to live. Do you know that Pin has already died? Today, Moteo has also lost his life. Moteo, that fool, is no longer here. Do you know? Just like that. The image of Jay left Young behind and went off with Honeybee. In addition, the desperate look in Xiaoyang's eyes made Jay in the real world horrified, his heart racing uncontrollably. When he finally regained his composure and broke free, Yoon ran over to support him. Thank goodness. Are you all right? He glanced over and asked, what just happened? I'm not sure either. The part at the end, I've never seen that fragment before. What is it? In the end, I think this world might be a continuation of that world. Jay suddenly shouted, causing the girl to jump in surprise. Wait, calm down first. Yoon shrank back. I'm sorry. This is the first time I've shown someone this fragment, so I didn't know it would turn out like this. I'm really sorry. I thought you had been pulled away to somewhere else. Jay froze and asked again. Pulled to somewhere else? What do you mean? Yoon explained the situation. The fragments you saw earlier were all pieces. Then I connected myself. I arranged it so that when we finish viewing the entire memory, we will return to this exact spot. But suddenly, the connection was severed, and he was taken to a place I have no knowledge of. Jay hesitated, wondering if someone else had interfered. Yoon lowered her head, her right hand holding her left hand, which was completely blackened. I'm not sure about that. This is the first time I've encountered something like this. Jay looked at the heavily injured hand, also showing signs of concern. But Yoon reassured him. It's all right, Appa. The management department will take care of me. Probably because of the last shard. That's why it turned out like this. I won't tell anyone that your father is Jay. I already revealed that the person who went into the water gap in Incheon this time is indeed Jay. I'm so scared to talk privately with the bureau chief. Well, since things have come to this point, Jay doesn't want to make it difficult. All right, it's fine. Just don't tell anyone that I did. Thank you so much. Yoon hesitated and continued. There's something I think I need to tell you. This world will eventually be destroyed, and the Awakening Management Bureau will come after Jay to prevent the apocalypse. Jay was quite surprised. Looking for Jay, yes. The Awakening Management Bureau is still considering various plans to prevent the apocalypse. But just at this moment, Jay appears on the rankings. In order to face the apocalypse, they must be sending out a search team to hunt down Jay right now. Your decision to sign up as a hunter once again was truly a wise choice. The search team is considering the case of Jay having lost his memory due to the trauma from the water crevice. Therefore, they are proceeding to track down individuals who have not registered as hunters or ordinary people. At this moment, Jay could only wish that he had truly lost his memory. But in truth, if he had hesitated just a little longer, he might have ended up on their list of targets. The pact he had made with Lee Sa-young is now proving to be useful. After saying that, Gayun also expressed her intention to leave. After all, it was already late. And Jay stood up abruptly. Why don't you go to the emergency room to check on your injury first? I think your hand doesn't look too good. Gayun forced a smile. All right, it's fine. The management department will handle it for me. You don't need to worry. Also, if there's no information that needs to be passed on to you in the future, I won't come here again. I'll just make you feel uneasy, Jay replied, startled. It's not that bad. Gayun shook his head while smiling brightly. No, it's just that sometimes hunters from the Awakener Management Bureau follow me. So it's better if you don't come here. Jay seemed a bit puzzled and wanted to ask more. Can I ask you one more thing? Do you know anything about the ones who created the artificial awakened beings? After a moment of thought, the girl replied, yes, I do. I overheard Uncle mention it once. I think he said those people acted with the goal of preventing the apocalypse, if I remember correctly. But they are using others as subjects for their experiments. Even if their goals are the same as ours, I still don't want to get involved. Aside from that, did you hear anything else? Gayung thought for a moment and then added, oh, I heard him say something about there being something at the Incheon harbor. I only overheard when he was talking on the phone, so I don't know the exact content. I'm sorry. Seeing the girl so weak and already blaming herself, Ji then comforted her. It's okay. Thank you for telling me. With that, Gayung bowed and said goodbye before leaving. When the girl had just left, Ji Minman's mind drifted to another world. Could it be true that another world, similar to this one, had once existed? In that world, Ji had perished, Jongbin, and even Moteo were gone. What Gayung and I had seen were just a few extremely brief moments from the past, weren't they? No one could know when or how the apocalypse would come. Waiting for an uncertain future is no different from walking forward with your eyes closed. The management department will exert all their efforts to search for Ji, as they desire someone to lead the way and help them find the best path. From now on, what should I do to make things better? I wish the apocalypse had signs to warn us in advance. While Ji was recalling and wondering about the black fragment he saw today, his phone suddenly rang. That's a message from Sa-young. She needs something from you. Ji replied with a very short message, clearly showing indifference. Yeah, Sa-young replied, scolding him. You should reply with something longer. Ji just replied with a prolonged yeah, leaving Sa-young feeling helpless. After a moment of standing there frozen, Ji chuckled. All right then. Thinking in a complicated way won't immediately solve anything. Instead of giving yourself a headache overthinking without getting anything done, it's better to just get moving with your hands and feet first. The reason you made that decision is because Sa-young sent a suggestion. Come to Incheon. In another turn of events, a group of people was loading boxes onto a truck. How many are there today? Yes, Mom. Lately the shipments have been fewer. Are they trying to push us out? What are you saying? That's offensive. We risked our lives just to get these goods here. The management bureau and the Pago team are hunting us down relentlessly. Almost everyone in Bizen has been caught. So Incheon is still the only place left where we can hide. The ones who got caught. Where did they slip up for the scent to be picked up? The higher-ups have already given their orders. This place probably won't hold for much longer. Therefore, tomorrow, all J must leave here before the whole group gets caught. These people are arguing amongst themselves, and aside from J, they still have to leave behind a lot of stuff. Pack up the bigger items first. We need to leave quickly before the management finds us. Divide the medicine into smaller portions and take it with us. Yes, we understand. The Songpa district reported that someone is about to enter the transformation stage. They are requesting additional medicine. They revealed all their confidential information to each other, not realizing that Jay was spying on them through binoculars, taking notes on everything. As Jay wrote, he thought to himself, their intention is that they are responsible for the rare items provided to each base, which they have found with great difficulty. I have only been observing their movements since early morning, and I've only been tracking them for a week. They're packing up and running away now. I have to report this to Lee Sa-young immediately. Once I get in touch, Lee Sa-young will send someone right away. But will they be able to provide backup in time before they get away? It would be great if I could continue trailing these guys. But if they're taking a car or a boat to escape, it'll be a bit difficult for me to catch up, because I'm alone. I don't have the ability to fly through the air. In that case, I have no choice but to rush into the central area to delay them. After a moment of contemplation, Jay decided to charge into the sea of flames and was captured and bound by them. Where the hell did this little bastard come from? Are you insane to dare run in here and provoke us? Another man approached and asked, what does he have to do with the management office? The man standing next to Jay asked in return, appearing to have no relation to the situation. Over there, they just broken like this. Why are you asking me when I asked you first? Haven't you checked? This guy here, he refuses to open his mouth and has no official paperwork. In his apron pocket, there's a hunter's card, but he's just a rank D rookie and all things special. A rank D rookie acting so tough. He doesn't even show any signs of being different. Exactly. If someone said he's a junkie who came here because he smelled drugs, that wouldn't be right. He's actually quite clear-headed. This guy's starting to act like a thug. Well, Just give him a few hits, and he'll start talking right away. As soon as he interacted with Person D, this guy winced, his hand aching terribly, and his body feeling like it had just crashed into stone. He kept jumping up, clutching his arm, and crying out in pain. The blonde guy behind him sneered. "Hey, you there, cut the act. You hit him once on the head. Why are you shouting and carrying on like this?" The guy explained. "I'm not acting. My mouth and even my bones are broken." He then handed the blonde guy a stick. The blonde guy walked straight towards D. What? Does he have a head transformation skill? To dare look at me like that, you must have some confidence, huh? Even if you look at me like that, I won't spare that pretty face of yours. The blonde guy was very confident as he held the stick and slammed it straight into D's head. With an excited expression, "I'll show you what real pain feels like." However, D's head remained unchanged. While the stick had shattered into pieces at some point, how did one hit make it break? Is this guy really made of stone? Why didn't you guys hit him for me? D still sat there, unmoving, as they charged at him like crazy. Nama, the blonde guy, started laughing like a cocky toad. "Now you're scared, huh?" But as they turned back and forth, D remained the same. Yet both he and his chair were knocked over, while the others cried out in pain, their bones rattling, their bodies trembling uncontrollably. The blonde-haired person hesitated. "What's going on here?" At that moment, D finally spoke up. He shoved the person off and swiftly yanked apart the binding ropes. "Ha, this isn't working. I wanted to cooperate and put on a good performance with you all, but your skills are too poor. Come on, a bunch of useless people. Just charge at once and get it over with." The young man running fiercely was Choi Gojo, a hunter from the know, one tactical support team, nicknamed Romantic Opener, ranked 50th. Choi Gojo came to take over the mission in place of the young prodigy Seo Minji, who had gone on a business trip abroad. His task was to supervise the part-time workers at the Hangover Soup shop and report everything, from the big issues to the smallest details, back to the team leader. But while Choi Gojo was working diligently on his mission, he couldn't find the opponent anywhere. Immediately, he ran to find Jay and stopped at a place where a strange sound was coming from. Could this sound be from the target who got caught while wandering and is being dragged away by them? Thinking of Jay being painfully restrained made Choi Gojo go mad. And these bastards shouldn't be allowed to harm his lover like this. Choi Gojo appeared, his fist clenched as he thought to himself, "This is absolutely not because I'm afraid I'll lose track of the target and end up dying at the hands of the captain. I thought I would transform into a hero saving the beauty, but who would have guessed that when I arrived, I saw Jay punching these people out." Choi Gojo was stunned and fell back, as Min Ki had previously instructed him, emphasizing that his top priority was to stay close to Wu Jie. He was a rank D hunter, so if anything were to happen, he had to immediately protect him. For Choi Gojo, a rank D hunter was almost like an ordinary person, but now he couldn't believe his eyes. Was that really a rank D hunter, nearly an ordinary person? As soon as Jay saw Choi Gojo, he called out clearly, causing Choi Gojo to freeze in place. Only able to reply with a simple yes or okay, Jay straightforwardly asked, "Are you one of their people?" Choi Gojo panicked and shook his head vigorously. No, not at all. Definitely not." However, Jay still didn't believe and looked with a sharp, murderous gaze. In this situation, of course, anyone I asked would answer that it's not true. Choi Gojo, terrified, stepped back. Is that really just an ordinary part-time worker at that drunk cremity shop? At this point, there was no choice but to explain thoroughly. "It's not true. I really am not." Jay tightened his fist in warning. "Don't even think about running. Don't waste your energy in vain. I will catch you in one move." Choi Gojo obediently knelt down. Jay bent forward, looked him straight in the eye, and said, "What were you about to say earlier? Speak up. If you don't speak quickly, you'll know the consequences when you look behind." Choi Gojo had no other choice but to take out the business card. I am Choi Gojo, a member of the Pato team. The team leader sent me here and told me to protect you." After confirming, Jay let out a laugh that seemed to lack any emotion. "You're pretty quick, aren't you?" "Well, you didn't need to be this quick." "Well, you seem to understand now. But I want to emphasize that I'm not in a good mood right now. I had just closed my shop to take a little break when these guys caught me off guard. These guys didn't just corner me, they even beat me up because I responded too slowly. They used hammers to hit me, even used a baseball bat with nails to strike me." Choi Gojo knew full well that Jay was pretending to be pitiful, but still had to play along. Me? How could that be? They're really just a bunch of trash. Jay still transformed into an Amazon-level actor, and I was beaten so badly that my clothes were torn apart. Look, even Choi Gojo is pretending to be panicked. Oh my god, those bastards. They should be fed to the fish to be eaten. Jay sobbed as he added. That's why I acted. It was just a little bit, really. After saying this, Choi Gojo trembled even more, cursing under his breath. If a little bit of action causes this, what will happen when I go all out? Jay continued to act pitiful, adding a smile as bright as a blooming flower. That's why, you, Choi Gojo, could you keep your mouth shut for me at home? I don't have the ability to erase people's memories, so if I had to erase it, I'd only be able to do it by physical means. Choi Gojo began pretending to be clueless, acting like someone with amnesia. Where am I? Who are you? Hey, part-timer, I don't know where this is. And I also don't know what happened. But if I open the door for you, does that count as me helping you? Jay was confused and didn't understand. Choi Gojo continued, my power is that every time I open a door, I can teleport space. Jay also seemed excited. Oh, this ability is perfect for delivery work, but do you face any penalty when using your power? Like a side effect, similar to the after effects of taking medicine? Choi Gojo hesitated. Well, yeah, there is. Jay probed further. You tell me. I need to know what your punishment is before I decide whether or not to ask you to open the door. Once the street name or location is known on the map, the door can be opened to anywhere. This ability can help many people use Jay to reach their desired location. However, this ability takes where I am currently standing as the center point. As long as the door remains continuously connected, multiple people can pass through. But the further the J point moves away from the center, the longer it will take for me to faint. And once I faint, the door will immediately close. Jay analyzed and asked, so if we take this place as the starting point for calculations, if you open the door from Incheon to Seoul, how many days will it take before you faint? Choi Gojo hesitated and tried to calculate. 1 day during the full moon. If it's longer, I'd probably faint for about 2 days or so. Jay continued to probe. So, what if you open a door to Washington, D.C.? I've never opened a door to Washington before, but I have opened one to Toronto, Canada. At that time, the team leader had an urgent business trip, and I ended up crossing from one season to the next. Jay felt a bit helpless after hearing this. Oh, hold on. This ability is really impressive. But the punishment is way too harsh. Well, I'm truly sorry, but could you open a door for me? If you faint, I'll take you to the hospital, so don't worry. Choi Gojo clapped his hands twice and squeezed them as if he were very excited. You don't need to worry about that, brother. King, open it. The magical door leading anywhere. I don't even know what kind of power this is, but just reading the name makes it feel like a copyright violation, twice over. The moment the door appeared, Choi Gojo's whole body shook violently, leaving Jay dumbfounded. What is this? Why is he suddenly trembling like that? Wait a minute. I haven't even told him the destination yet. At that moment, the door opened, and behind it was Lee Sa-young's office. Jay gritted his teeth, frustrated that he had just been tricked. I told him to open the door, but he opened the door to the captain's room. What the hell is going on? Choi Gojo felt that the captain was still more intimidating, and acting like this seemed to be the right thing to do. As soon as Lee Sa-young saw Jay, she took off her glasses and sighed. You told me you were holding them off, but I'm wondering what exactly you were planning to do. So what on earth did you do to go completely insane? Lee Sa-young appeared annoyed, slamming her hand on the table and pressing her face close to Ji's. What did you do to make yourself look so haggard? Ha-young, after sitting quietly in his seat, Lee Sa-young began her scolding. First, you will listen to me speak. Go ahead. Why did you recklessly charge out like that? I think we can extract more information to corner them, and it would be a shame to let them slip away, Lee Sa-young muttered, arms crossed. Ha-young, you don't need to go that far. The task I gave you is just to supervise them. As for controlling them, I'll send someone else with the proper expertise, she said. Jay retorted, I can handle it faster than those people, like today. Lee Sa-young couldn't help but admit, yeah, you did help me. This is the first time we've managed to confiscate all the drugs. Jay immediately started boasting. See, told you, I'm awesome, right? Lee Sa-young sighed. It's disgusting. Jay didn't want to stay any longer, so he stood up. I've done the job you assigned, so I'm clocking out now. Lee Sa-young's face, slightly pouting, stared at Ji. What now, you little brat? It's nothing. I was just wondering if you're really planning to go back looking like this. Looking at the blood-stained shirt and the filth all over his body, Ji felt a little awkward. Lee Sa-young once again moved closer to him. Stay still.